Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Auto Transport Intel, the car shipping business channel. My name is Jay. I'm your host this evening. You know, every Tuesday night, my goal is to bring you another trade show level business presentation to you wherever you are, because your business deserves the latest in auto transport news. And if you're busy, and I know you are, you can skip ahead. How? Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to give you the show lineup. And there's clickable video time codes below if you're on demand. And you feel free to check out the video description, click on those, and jump right to the section you want to go to. Please do leave a comment. Remember to like, share, tell your friends. Thanks for watching, ATI. Sure do appreciate it. Are you making random phone calls to carriers to get loads picked up tomorrow? Why are you doing it that way? I get random calls and I don't even dispatch anymore. So how old is your carrier database anyways? What if a smart text, email, or automated phone call could help save you hours of pain? Tonight, our interview is with Eric Rodriguez. He is co-founder of Vendorflow. He's going to give a live demo. And then we're going to have a live discussion panel. Brokers, carriers, dispatchers. How does this work? Who is it for? How does it help? So please do join the live chat. Share your thoughts. Ask your questions. Grow your business. Because it's Tuesday nights live on Auto Transport Intel. I'm Jay, your host. Welcome back to the show. Hey, what is going on? Welcome back to Tuesday Nights Live. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join me on a Tuesday night. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend, and we are back. And yeah, this is show number 197, but wait. If this is your first time here, I want you to feel welcome. Please do feel welcome at Auto Transport Intel. By the way, mic check, audio. How is the audio? Is it okay? Please let me know. Audio, video, if you want just a black screen and voiceover, let me know that. And please say hello in the live chat. Please do promote your company, your product, your services. Tell us where you are. Are you looking for loads? Are you trying to get rid of loads? Are you making random phone calls? Let us know. Go ahead and put in the live chat. My company name is, and I make random phone calls. Go ahead and do that. Let's see, because what we're going to do, okay, you know that, I didn't get it in here, but, well, at the quarter hour, we have industry news, national news, social media news, front of the news, back of the news, what's being talked about in auto transport, EV is top of mind, but then, actually, for the second part of industry news, what we're going to do, normally we do industry news continued, but we're going to do an information superhighway, sort of, kind of, we'll see. It's a lot to pack in one evening. But I do have, at the 40-minute mark, Eric Rodriguez of Vendorflow. He's co-founder. He's going to tell us more about what this is, what's the idea, how can it help, and then he's going to give a live demo of Vendorflow. So that'll be cool. Get to ask questions, see it in action, because, you know, are we still going to be doing random phone calls in 2025? I don't really think so. I actually really don't think so. And then to talk about it, we got a discussion panel. We got Sue, Murphy Auto Transport Services, Eric, Guardian Auto Transport, Constantine, All Car Haulers, Shaun is with, man, Shaun was a last minute addition. Hey, Mark, will you put in the live chat? Shaun is with, we had, around the holidays, these shows are tough to schedule. So Shaun, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And then Mark Rodicke rounding out the panel. And yeah, it's going to be great. So here's what we're going to do. We're already a minute late to go into Hello Live Chat. Please do jump in the live chat. I want to talk to you right after this.
If you own a small or medium-sized vehicle hauling business, you need to join the National Vehicle Transporters Alliance. NVTA was created by car haulers for car haulers. As a member of NVTA, you will have access to saving up to 25% on complete business insurance, access to 24/7 roadside assistance, discounts on fuel, tires, parts, repairs, and so much more. NVTA is here to help keep you moving for the long haul. Visit GoNTVA.org to learn more and become a member today.
National Vehicle Transporters Alliance, created for car haulers by car haulers, providing solutions and savings for small to mid-sized carriers. To learn more, visit GoNVTA.org. Got the links in the live chat, and it is time to go ahead and say hello to the live chat. So I'm going to back it up to the top. You're seeing the live chat on your screen, but I am back at the beginning. Here we go. Joel Hawk is here. What's going on, Joel? Hello from St. Louis, Black Widow Imaging. Thank you so much, Black Widow. Thank you, Joel. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Joel's going to be on the live panel next Tuesday. Mark Rodicke's here tonight. Hi, Jay. Looking forward to grade 197. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. And Mark's on the panel tonight. Kimberly is in the live panel. What's going on? No, in the live chat. Kimberly's in the live chat, not in the live panel. Let's get it straight, Jay. Hey, fix those cue cards. Welcome to Tuesday Nights Live with your host, Jay. Please say hello in the live chat. Please do. Ask your questions, share your thoughts, grow your business. What's going on? Carlos Braxton. Hello, everyone from ACB Logistics. Now, I went ahead and skipped ahead and still haven't got his truck. Man, Carlos, we're so sorry to hear that, man. Wow. That sure does seem like a long time. So, thoughts go to Carlos. Yes, Carlos, we want you to get back on the road, man. For sure. Oh, that's a bummer. Vendorflow, excited to be here. What's up, Eric? In the live chat. All right, ready to go. John G, Finest Home Recovery, in the live chat. What's going on? Oh, he says, bring on the hurricane. Come on, John. It's a family show. All Car Haulers, Constantine in the live chat. Good evening. What's up? Jake McLeod. What's up? Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. Made the introduction for the show tonight. Got a show idea? autotransportintel@gmail.com. Let me know. Let's we set up a Zoom talk. Hey, what's going on? I don't know. Maybe we can make a show out of this. Cool. Let's do that. And that's how it can get started. It's pretty cool. Lloyd Vanover, what's going on, Lloyd? Lloyd made it to Cars on the Move a week from Friday. This past Friday, we had Cart Group. The week before that, on the Melting Block of Ice, was Lloyd. That was cool, man. Okay, we sound good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know how, man, you know how I get about the sound, right? Man, get pretty cranky. Super Dispatch is here. What is going on? Super Dispatch is in the house. Oh, that's Ben at Super Dispatch. Yeah, Constantine says, yeah, no one answers the phone. You think I answer that phone? Think again. Wait, somebody's like, wait a minute, what? I'm talking about dispatch. Allegedly. Shane, hey, what's up? The Shane app team is here. What's going on from Cali? Did I say it right? Shane? Oh, Sean Sullivan, Travelers Auto Transport. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, We haven't even met yet. This is going to be great. Got all the players in here tonight. Playing cards? Dispatch emails. Hey, what's up from Jax, Florida? Seaport Service. That's Candy. Adrian Amasias. Happy to be here. Oh, from Super Dispatch. That's 2 for Super Dispatch. We need a chalkboard. 2. Yeah, Jay, we really didn't know what a chalkboard was. Let's see here. Martina Maynard. What's up? It's Martina from Seaport Service. Ooh, on the chalkboard. We have 2 from Seaport Service. It's Shane. Okay, not Shane. Sorry. Cool. I know, I appreciate the clarification. I really do. Shane. You know, like that song? Chain, chain, chain. Please don't sing, Jay. It's 8:11. We got a few more minutes in the live chat. Did you guys have a good weekend? It was nice, right? It was a cool weekend. Got a little bit of work done and a little bit of vacay, more like a staycay. And I've been going through some of the news, looking at news articles. Man, everything's electric, man. EV articles. It's harder to find. There's going to come a time soon. It's going to be hard to find gas combustion car articles. But I'm putting gas in my car. Still, I'm not riding one of them electric skateboard things yet. Put it on the board, Jay. It's a Super Dispatch. I do have a pretty long information superhighway tonight. So actually, I probably don't need to continue to ramble in the live chat. I just wanted to keep it open for another minute in case anybody has anything amazing to say. Ooh, and in French. La Shane. It's not. Too much money on fireworks. Yeah, everybody has that neighbor. And you're like, man, that guy spent a lot of money. Right? Are you that neighbor? And then you read the weird stories. It seems like there was some kind of a death in the NHL, maybe? I don't know. There's always like that freak accident every year. So don't be the freak accident LLC. Just don't do that. Eric from Guardian Auto Transport. Eric Field is here. What's going on, Eric? Cool. Thanks for saying hello. You know, what I like about the live chat, and it's going to keep going. We're just kind of get it warmed up, right? Got to heat it up. The live chat is where as we get into, let's see, we got Eric in about 25 minutes with an interview, background, what's Vendorflow, and then we're going to go into the demo, and you're going to see things, and you're going to go to ooh and ah, and what's that, and then at about an hour 20 is when you can ask questions with the live panel. Wow, Mark's getting a lot of love. What's up? Love for Mark. Yeah. So, and what I want you to do is you look at this, and I noticed that the email blast went out, and some people were really interested in this show. Because, seriously, are you still making random phone calls to random carriers at random times? Pretty much near desperation time. You had those people calling, they're like, yeah, I'll move it for 500, and you're like, nah. And now it's got to get moved tomorrow morning, and you got your entire building, the whole floor, trying to move one load, making random phone calls to random carriers that may randomly be in business or randomly not. Why? Really? That's your system? That'd be crazy. All right? So there's got to be a better way, and that's what this show's all about. Vendorflow, text, email, automated phone call. It's not, right? This is not a brand new time traveler idea. But it is, it's powered technology focused on really, and not only getting you loaded tomorrow, but let's get that carrier network updated. Every time I hear we have, 20 million carriers in our database, really 19 million of them went out of business. How many are still in business? How many are at the top of your list? Because even if you still have 1 million carriers in your database, you probably only use 100 regularly. And do you know their routes? Do you know where they are now? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Let's start randomly, furiously calling 100. Super Dispatch. Thank you, Super Dispatch. I was checking that. I did the cowbell slowly because I'm trying not to blow out the audio, but I still got to do some cowbell. Super Dispatch, thanks ATI, relationships, industry, community. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And Super Dispatch, I'm quite sure you'll be interested in this show as well. Technology, dispatching, carrier networks, loads that need to be moved. And that's what this is all about. This is a show about the use of technology. More and more, I had another meeting today. More and more, we're seeing the new and improved use of technology to get loads moved, which may actually put more money in everybody's pockets. How about that? That'd be great. That'd really be great. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Stick around, because right after this, we're going to go into industry news, and you're not going to want to miss it.
You know the value of a hard day's work because you're out there living it. Long hours, hard days, and a dollar that doesn't stretch as far as you'd like. But what if you had more time at home? What if you had more money at the end of the month? Where is it that your mind wanders on long, open roads? What is it that nags you at night? How could your life be better? More money? More freedom? Less stress? What if I told you I could help you spend less time on the road while making more money? What if I told you that you could plan your next trip in under 2 minutes? Both of these things are true with Dispatch Center. Turn the corner with us. Start your next chapter today.
That's Dispatch Center by SuperFlo Systems. Get signed up and get logged in to make your load management life easier. Visit dispatchcenter.com. Thank you so much. And Mark is in the live chat. If you have a question, Mark Grodicke, you see him there. He wants to help you. Visit dispatchcenter.com. And he's on the live panel tonight. So there it is, Dispatch Center. Okay, here we go. Who wants some industry news? You guys ready? Oh, and there... Wait for it. Yeah! What's up, Mark Grodicke? Thank you so much. Check out Dispatch Center, Route Scout. Now that's the kind of smart technology we're talking about. Route Scout. See now, ooh, Mark, right? Let's take Route Scout. Let's take faster dispatch. Let's just make it happen, right? Because this is silly. Why are we going to the phone again? I really don't know. And we're going to do, oh, this is cool. Stick around, because he's going to do a demo of some automated robocalls, phone calls. We're going to get them on the cell phone. And I actually really like this part. This is going to be cool. So let's do some news. This is show 197, faster dispatch through text with Vendorflow. You go to vendorflow.co. Spot market quotes your way. You can check it out. Vendorflow.co. Spot market quotes your way. And I am going to, I'm going to go through a lot of slides here in the information superhighway, because the more I've seen, the more I realize, you know what, this is a great idea. And I like the interface. It's a Chrome extension. Ooh, Chrome extension. That's pretty cool. So that's Vendorflow. You know, I talk about the industry: OEMs, auctions, dealers, shippers, services, brokers, carriers, equipment, regulations, and loads. Those are the verticals as I've identified them. Tonight we're gonna focus on carriers, brokers, and loads. I should have circled services probably, and I know shippers definitely benefit from this technology as well, right? Because loads are getting moved faster, better communication, more reliable. It's the back of the store meets the front of the store. The transport parking lot meets the dealer selling the car. It's 2021. It's the year of the hybrid. Digital meets physical. Don't hear a lot of digital auto auction news, right? Because I guess the news is out. That was 6 months ago. Genie's out of the bottle. And when the auction is a packed house, you'll find Ty in the clubhouse. Ty, the transport guy. Connect with Ty and the Clubhouse app at Ty Transport Guy. connecting dealers, auctions, and carriers. And wait, you're new with 0 ratings, but you had me at dual tandems. We do talk carrier advantage. That's why. Did you guys see the NVTA Talks Business Insurance? That was an amazing special installment about a week and a half ago. That was June 24th. If you missed it, go. It's on Auto Transport Intel. NVTA Talks Business on Auto Transport Intel with Kent. He's in the insurance business. And then Michael, he's the program director of NVTA. And then Robert, Bernard, Natalia, and Jonathan, they're all carriers. Had a live panel discussion. That was awesome. That was during the day, a week and a half ago. Check that out. Remember, National Vehicle Transporters Alliance. Big benefits and discounts for your hauling business. Finally, thousands of new Fords shipping nationwide. Say it ain't so. Dealerships can breathe a collective sigh of relief. The Detroit Free Press confirmed the Blue Oval has managed to get a hold of a new semiconductor chip supply, which will be used for its best-selling F-150 pickup truck. This means thousands of trucks that have been parked for months in lots in Michigan, Kentucky, and Missouri will receive those crucial chips and then be shipped to dealers. Man, and the timing couldn't be better. You got some dealers sweating it in those parking lots. We talk about this stuff on Cars on the Move, and, one of the things that does get talked about, electric vehicle haters won't like this news. Wait, what? EV haters? Really? I'm just kidding. Battery electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles are no longer a niche segment. Governments throughout the world have been announcing end dates for sales of internal combustion vehicles, and automakers eager to join the bandwagon. I was on a phone call today. Like, several automakers are now like, we're going to be EV only by 2030. And I'm looking at the calendar. I'm thinking, that sounds crazy. EV only by 2030? It is not stopping. And EVs and PHEVs, what is that, phosphorus electric vehicles? No, it's not, Jay. Are making a sales impact in Europe. I saw this one from... What does PHEV stand for? That's how new EVs... I know BEV is the battery. And then the HEV, is the hydrogen. What's PHEV? So I think that... Okay, so important... okay, that one's out of order. That was more about... Okay, but the chip crisis is not over. So don't go thinking it's over, because it ain't over. Here in New Zealand, electric car sales double in 1 year. The number of plug-in electric cars registered has more than doubled in the year to the end of June in New Zealand. It's a pretty interesting statistic. Ford quarterly U.S. auto sales rise strong on SUV and EV demand. In fact... Ford posted a 117% rise in U.S. electric and hybrid vehicle sales. Of course, didn't have a whole lot available of the... Okay. But anyways, Ford-branded SUV sales rose 37% in June. Ford sold over 12,000 of its Mustang Mach-E SUV in the first 6 months of the year. Like I said, it's not like everything else was available, so who knows. Daimler, Volvo, and Triton plan a $600 million truck charging joint venture. That is the kind of thing it's going to take, right? Because you can put in all the car chargers you want, but let's put in some truck chargers. 3 major European truck manufacturers, Daimler, AB Volvo, and Triton, said on Monday they plan to form a joint venture and develop an electric battery charging network for long-haul trucks and buses. It makes total sense. It's a good idea. They aim to install and operate at least 1,700 charging points within 5 years. Check, check, mic check. The joint company is based in Amsterdam. All right. So what? It's global news. We cover the globe now. We had Hendrik live from Germany on Friday. It was amazing. Aerodynamic design could improve fuel efficiency for heavy vehicles. So, but I didn't get it. The only picture I got was this. So I guess that's the new F-150. I don't know. Stay tuned. Okay, what is all that? Holy cow, Jay, you're not going to read all that, are you? No. But this is the Tesla forum. And I regularly, I'm almost weekly, I could have like weekly Tesla forum news. What a long, this is a giant statement. Tesla, man, people that buy Teslas, they blog a lot. And this is a blog by a new Tesla owner. Here's the best part. Finally, the car arrived in Colorado Springs. I got prepped the next day and was ready for third-party shipping. I was informed a few days later to expect the car delivered to my home. Great! Like Charlie Brown in the football, I didn't realize that everything I was told was wrong. The car would not be delivered on June 30th, and it would not be delivered to my house. Hey, why? Now, why did you say that exactly? You know, I've been reading on Tesla. I mean, people have been waiting, and then when it gets there, there's gaps in the doors and everything. But, hey, newsflash. Shippers. Dear all shippers. Do not count on some... I know it was a day. Here was a day. But still, everything's an estimated window. This is auto transport. And with Tesla, it might be an estimated month. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Hey, this is how you get your car shipping news. It's Auto Transport Intel. It's on Tuesday Nights Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Put it up on the big screen. You can do that. Are you ready, by the way? Do you know what's about to happen? I think that Larry is in the house. Alexa, open Quotify! Are you a car shipping guru? You can ask Larry. Go to dispatchcenter.com/ask Larry. Play the game. You can win now. Big prizes. Mark is in the live chat. Oh, John Larrick is here? That's awesome. Yeah, the live chat's cooking. Brian Pepson, R. Smith. Still takes lots of fossil fuels, yeah. Chunks of dinosaur right in the tank. Dispatchcenter.com/ask Larry J. Okay, here we go. Ready? When was a bond first required for freight brokers? 1873, 1930, 1972, or 1985? All right. Anybody need any help? I'm going to cut off the top and the bottom. I'm going to go with, personally, I'm going to go with 1930. Total guess. Hey, what's up, Ron? Thanks so much for tuning in and saying hello. That's great. Plug-in hybrid. Oh, plug-in hybrid. I have not heard that before. That's what PHEV means? Interesting. I want to come up with my own. What would be your EV anagram? I want to know. Somebody make an EV anagram, and then we'll start bragging about it, and other people will know what we're talking about. What is the most appropriate carrier pay amount to ship a 2019 Range Rover from Franklin, Tennessee to Los Angeles, California? Is it $730, $905, $1,120, or $1,480? Gonna chop off the bottom and the top. Yeah, Jake is right. 1930. Brokers didn't exist. That's when you could do underlining and pretty much everything. I think it was Lucha Libre. No. The ICC. Yeah, you couldn't actually do anything. Interesting. Fascinating stuff. Okay, here we go. Anybody get that one right? Franklin, Tennessee to LA, Range Rover. 1,200. 1,200's not on there, Candy. But good try. I like this. Suggestions welcome. A yield traffic sign has how many sides? 3, 4, 5, or 7? If you're playing along on the podcast, thank you. We appreciate that very much. Show me 7. What is the most appropriate carrier pay amount to ship a 2017 Honda Civic from Lake Tomahawk, Wisconsin to Greenbackville, Virginia? Never heard of Greenbackville. And I apologize. Honda Civic, 525, 805, 1165, or 1385. Wisconsin to Virginia. Where's Lake Tomahawk? Is that up north? What are they? The hold up? Is it near the oven mitt? What do they say? Yeah, Jay. What year was the first automated car wash invented? 1951, 1958, 1962, or 1973? First automated car wash. I'm tired of losing. I don't even have a guess. Oh, anybody? Yeah, off the beaten path. Ooh, run! No way. Oh my gosh. What is going on? Thank you so much, Ron. I was thinking about you, Ron. Ron has been here since the beginning. And, you know, what's funny, Ron, is that some people, Ron is NYC Traffic Inc. And he's been part of the core and the ecosystem in the community from way back. I'm sure 2017. And I still get comments. People watch some of the old videos and comment. And I'm like, man, that's the thing. It wasn't that long ago. It was 2017. It looks like the 80s already. Some of those videos look like the 80s. That's how fast things change. That's how fast time moves. I mean, it depends on what speed you're going. I mean, many people, right? It's possible that when you hit your stride, you're still doing this year exactly what you're doing a year ago. Possible. But when things are new and you're still trying to find your way, pretty much sums it up for me, is that things change fast. And that actually is where, like with all the EVs, you know, and you got the PHEVs and the BEVs and the SUVs. No. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate that, Ron. You're a benchmark. Oh, I appreciate it. Let's see. NYC, nice to see you here. I hope your trial has been going well with our CTMS. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Somebody is sharing all the PPP love tonight, baby. Yeah. What is going on in the house? Yeah, no, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very, very much. Oh, yeah. 5 days off. Got to get out the door. Yeah, man. But we appreciate you. Whatever time you can spend live and then catch it on demand, or, you know, skip a week, skip a month. Why not? Remember to go to autotransportintel.com, click on sign up, become an ATI insider, or tell somebody you know, hey man, you know what? I know you're looking for a dispatcher. You got a broker that you got to say something about. You got a carrier you want to say something about. A dealer, an auction. Go to Auto Transport Intel. Click on sign up. Share with us. Learn, laugh, love. Tuesday nights live is the beginning of the week. Please join us tomorrow. DOT compliance, noon every Wednesday. We do How We Doing. We talk about proper load distribution on the trailer. And don't be the flip of the week. Don't do that. You don't need to be the flip of the week. In fact, go to Dispatching Live. Get load board search advice on Thursdays at noon. And we got the Muggo problems. Do you have a Muggo problems? Well, we do too. We all have a Muggo problems. We're shooting dice, we're throwing darts, we're counting money. All at the same time on Dispatching Live. And then Fridays on Cars on the Move, it's Ty with dealers, auctions, and carriers at noon, 30-minute show. We had Hendrik Saar live from Germany last Friday. That was a great show. Cart Group is a trailer manufacturer looking ahead. And man, great stuff. So Hendrick's definitely going to be back on the show. In fact, I think he's on the live panel next Tuesday night. If you missed it, a week ago was Auction Academy. It was just a week ago. Already seems longer than that, right? Time is flying. We're already in the second half. We're in Q3. Auction Academy training with Auction Academy and Auto IMS and Big Valley Auto Auction. That was a great show. If you missed it, check it out. And next Tuesday night, we have cloud-based tracking with Vlog. Interesting stuff. Do you have tracking? This is the thing. Jason Hawk loves to say, dude, where's my car? Right? And where is my car? In fact, it's interesting. I've heard just recently in global finished vehicle logistics live events, even global OEMs are like, yeah, dude, where's my car? So we're going to talk about some software because this thing, this is not, we have not hit the finish line on this deal. Let's talk about cloud-based tracking with Vlog. It's the Car Shipping Business Channel. Oh, that's right. I mixed up the slides tonight. So do me a favor. Right after this, we're going to do some information Superhighway. We're not just ready yet. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verification of loads when nobody answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years of experience in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021. Or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
That is the voice of Sue. She runs a dispatch office. She's a fully licensed broker. Do you need help finding loads or moving a car? Visit murphyautotransportservices.com. Join us on Thursdays on Dispatching Live. I see in the live chat Fast Eddie Transport missed the first 30 minutes. All right, well, listen, Fast Eddie, here's the deal. We started the show, we went into the live chat, then we went into industry news. We're going to have Eric Rodriguez here in about 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to do a Vendorflow Live Demo after that, and then we're going to have a live discussion panel, so you haven't missed any of that stuff. So you're lucky, stick around. Here we go. Where am I at? Which button am I hitting? Okay. Superhighway. Here we go. Now, here's what we're talking about. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yes. It is the faster dispatch through text live show with Vendorflow. Mic check 1, 2, 3. So here's why I love to talk about this stuff. You know, I love to talk about technology and dispatching, entrenched in technology and dispatching. I did the top 12 car hauling load boards video. I did the Q4 2019 load board, driver mobile app, TMS, CRM, software. 1 hour update. I did the Auto Transport 21. I went through 21 companies driving change in auto transport. And of course, if none of that means jack squat, Central Dispatch. You know what Central Dispatch is. This is an old screenshot, by the way. I dug this up. This is what you know Central Dispatch, right? Loads and loads and loads. And how do you get the load? You call a phone number. You got phone numbers, and yeah, you're going to call them. Yep, there you go. And I know they're going to, I'm pretty sure, they're going to add more functionality. But today you're calling them, and sometimes they're randomly calling you. And on it goes. We talk about it on Dispatching Live. You know the drill. And also, are you managing your loads with an Excel spreadsheet? Are you tired of that yet? Maybe. Are you using a mobile app to request loads? All right, good. That's a step in the right direction. And then somebody else keeps adding more loads to an Excel spreadsheet. Copy and paste and fax, I guess. I don't know. Look at a map, maybe. There's it says meet about here. Why not? Okay, sure. How about information that you need to maintain and have on the ready? Oh, it's on the whiteboard. Okay, can we fax it? No, I don't think so. Certificates of liability of insurance, right? Okay, cool. We got papers? Great. Can we mail it? Maybe. Got the dispatch sheet. How did we get that? Oh, that came in the fax? Great. Oh, it says right here, please sign and fax it back. Awesome. Loving it. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I don't know, but let's go back to the Excel spreadsheet. And then, yeah, I guess we'll call them. Just call them, I guess. Hope they answer. Let's see what we're going to do here. Oh, yeah. No, actually, this is good. We can click a button and we can book it. Great. When's the last time that was updated? I don't know. And then we're calculating our fees. Again, on the spreadsheet. Great. Lots of copy and pasting going on. We got all the damage codes. I got a copy of that pamphlet around here somewhere. I think it's... Last time I saw it, it was stuck to his boot. Here's a dispatch sheet. Great. Go ahead and sign that. Fax it back. And then we got... I think this one's clickable. What do we do with it now? I don't know. I got it emailed. I got a PDF. That's a step in the right direction. Okay, I booked it. Well, but I got a question. All right, we'll get on the live chat. All right, I'm in the live chat. We're 10th in line. Okay. Well, I don't know. The carrier's loading. He's moving. Do we have that information yet? No, but he's ready to go. Well, don't tell him to wait. Okay, well, we got... Is there a phone number? I don't see a phone number. But they do have the... Okay. Well, click the feedback button. Click it in the... You can click it on your monitor. Click it in your app. Can you talk to anybody? No, but I'm leaving feedback. That's great. Transport damage. Okay, now we're heading in the right... Now we're in 2021. We're texting. Yes, we're texting pictures. We're texting information. Yes. Now we're communicating the way people like to communicate. Ah, that's good. Oh, he's sorry. He texted me. He's able to text me now. Can we get the text in the mobile app? Is that possible? Or no, call him? Yeah, just call him, I guess. All right. Are you still in the chat line? Yeah, I think we're 8 now. All right. Well, text him and let him know that we apologize. And, yeah, where's the apology? It's in the spreadsheet. Go grab it from the spreadsheet. All right. That's Excel? Yeah, good. Okay. Great. Load boards, mobile apps, TMS, CRM. Are they connected? Can we get them connected? Oh, this again. Have they updated it? Yes. Do you like the update? Not sure yet. Are you using the update? I think I still like the old fax format. Alright, that's good. Did you get a copy of the gate pass? Is it attached? Is it in the app? No, we got a fax. Okay. Well, at least we have it. What's that? What is that other additional document? I don't know. The dealer says we need it. Well, where is it? He emailed it. All right. Well, can we get it inside the app? Maybe. Back to the spreadsheet. This is how you dispatch? Yep. And he mailed us the BOL a couple weeks ago. That was from a month ago. Okay, that's good. So that's dispatching. Okay. Can we get a faster dispatch through text? Maybe. I think maybe we can. And Eric is going to join us tonight to talk about it. Now, before we get to that, was some pretty like auto transport specific stuff, because I've been a dispatcher. I've been through it. So we're going to back the truck up. Let's back it up let's bring Eric in here, get some background information, and talk more and learn more about Vendorflow. Stick around because in about 15 minutes, we're going to crank up the demo. And this is going to be cool. I think you're going to like it. Chrome extension. Think Chrome extension. Ask Eric, you got a Chrome extension? Why? Stick around. We'll be right back. Is your current vehicle imaging process producing inconsistent images? Frustrating? Time-consuming? At the mercy of another vendor's schedule? Well, it doesn't have to be. Black Widow Imaging provides a simple system to capture high-quality images of your vehicles in seconds. Simply align the driver's side tire with the floor stripe. Stop on the floor plate to scan your vehicle code and capture the exterior images. It's that easy. It's also equipped with an interactive 360-degree interior camera option so your customers don't miss any details. The results are fast, consistent 4K images that are delivered to your website in minutes. Let us show you how easy your imaging process can be anywhere in the global supply chain. Visit blackwidowimaging.com to schedule a live demo. Black Widow Imaging, high resolutions, OEMs, auctions, dealers, carriers, rail, port, fleet, and more. Schedule a live demo today. Go to blackwidowimaging.com and find out all that Black Widow does for the industry. Let's do this. Let's bring in, I got Eric coming in right now. I hear a doorbell ringing, and I see you guys in the live chat. Great activity and information. Yeah, it was a throwback. That was interesting stuff. Funny seeing the old dispatch stuff. Although for some, it's not old. It's current. Some people are doing that right now. Still randomly calling. I get random phone calls. Who's randomly calling someone at random? Next time you get a random phone call, say, hey, no, we're not anywhere near there. We don't have any trucks available. But do me a favor. Please watch Auto Transport Intel on Tuesday nights live. And stop making random phone calls, will you? All right, let's go live with Eric. Eric, can you see me and hear me okay?
I can see, I can hear you. Thanks for having me, Jay. Excited to be here.
All right, man. We're excited to have you. So we'll just start with something easy. So what do you think of the Auto Transport Intel experience so far?
Mostly the bells are what I'm super excited about. I missed that. That's been something missing in my life, and I didn't even know it. I haven't heard a buzzer yet, though. It's a very positive day we're having so far. It's very quiet, just a little bit. Okay,
that is, it's quite just a little bit. That's probably
a whisper
good.
Of a buzz.
But you're right, is that this is probably an ancient relic now because of COVID. Right?
You got to put a glove on first, and then you can tap.
Right, those little gloves there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. What will be the next relic? Okay, Eric, please say hello to the live audience and tell us a little bit more about you and Vendorflow.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, so I'm Eric Rodriguez, the CEO of Vendorflow, and I'll start with myself, I suppose. I'm in Los Angeles, and our team is primarily in SoCal. We got some Texas representation. We got Toronto, Canada as well. So we're all across North America. For myself, I've been in tech companies for about 10, 11 years now. I've been all up and down. I've had the whole California sampler. I born and raised in San Diego, Bay Area for most of my 20s, and then down to LA. I've been in LA now for 8 years. I'm in downtown LA, if we want to be specific. There's tacos around every corner. It's not the worst place to be, although I imagine delivering a car in downtown is probably pretty rough. Yeah, so I've been in tech for some time. And I got my first exposure to logistics and trucking about 3 years ago. I joined a digital freight brokerage called Next Trucking. They're down in El Segundo. And that's where I got my exposure. Now, to be honest, even words like drayage were foreign to me in coming into it. But with some great mentorship from some great people, learned a lot, observed a lot. And that's really how the majority of the Vendorflow team has formed and kind of moved on. With this opportunity we see. So that's where we're at today.
I like you just said, and that's what this is all about, is educational information and some entertainment, hopefully.
Hopefully.
You said drayage. I know there are people in the live chat that do not know what drayage is because that's a freight term, right? In
Yeah.
fact, drayage, tell me if I'm right. I should cue up the quiz
He's
music.
Googling.
No Googling. Drayage is those port movements, right? Just short port movements. And actually, that's an area where they're doing a lot of autonomous innovation because I think it's repetitive and it's short and it's in
That's
the
right.
port.
Yeah, short haul, usually talking, 30 minutes to a 2-hour drive, outside of the city maybe. I mean, I'm mostly familiar with LA and Long Beach, as you might imagine, biggest port in North America by a good margin. But a lot of opportunity out here. And yeah, I suppose you could call it intermodal as well if you want to include rail, the movement of shipping containers by way of rail as well. Yeah.
Right. Okay, right. Intermodal. Okay, so, and that's where, and then we'll just go ahead and get the trifecta. Digital freight brokerage. You were in, again, general freight. Did you move any cars in your digital freight brokerage, or was it all types of?
It was predominantly drayage as well as full truckload as well, a little sampling of LTL, I suppose. To my knowledge, I don't know if there were autos moved at that particular organization, but learned a good amount about auto hauling since, yeah.
LTL less than truckload. LTL.
That's the one.
I'm still reeling from PHEV. I did not know plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Is that common? Am I the only one that didn't get the memo? Maybe, probably.
New for me too.
Okay, all right. Thank you. You throw me a lifeline. I appreciate it. So the thing is that in what we're talking about tonight with Vendorflow, text, email, phone call, better way of dispatching. Your technology is not isolated to auto transport. And so
That's right.
what's cool is that this is like cross-educational because I'm adding to your auto transport information and you're adding to our general information of maybe how to do it better and not make just random phone calls.
Sure.
Did you make random phone calls at the digital freight brokerage?
At that particular organization, no, but I do know the feeling of cold calling and dialing for dollars. It's a hard life, but when you hit a winner, it's very satisfying.
Right. So hitting a winner, is that common?
Well, it depends on what we're dialing for, I suppose, and a whole lot of variables. Sure. But no, I mean, I could tell you about what we observed in our time in brokers. It kind of was the genesis.
Yes,
of all
please
this.
do.
So we were blown away by the extent to which operations folks at brokers or freight forwarders or shippers are engaging in this very ad hoc way of communicating with carriers, whether they're writing these love letters by way of email or text message or phone call as well. It's all sort of ad hoc, unstructured, what's up type of interactions. And one of the challenges is, on one hand, it's a very sort of stressful and chaotic and somewhat disorganized experience where you're looking at your email, you're texting on your dial pad or your Ring Central, and you're calling as well, and it's a whole mess getting it all together. But there's also a whole other aspect to it, which is to learn about your carriers and deepen your relationship with your carriers. How do they like to be engaged? What do they like to be engaged about? Is there a way you can give them feedback on how responsive they're being, what patterns they're sort of displaying with their own behavior in terms of which lanes they tend to express interest in or offer the best rates in? We want to provide a framework to capture that data, not so much for us, but for the benefit of if you're a broker, if you're a shipper, if you're a forwarder, you will learn so much more about your vendors, what they like, so you can give them feedback and develop your relationship and just be more successful. Less random calls, more tailored interactions with your external parties.
So that's interesting. You're not just talking about the loads themselves. You're talking about, right?
Right. Yeah, so let me give you a specific example about the loads. So there's what do we have today and where are we going? So what do we have today certainly pertains to covering loads, getting rates, checking on capacity. And where we're going pertains to a whole host of other workflows. Maybe it's about disputing invoices. Maybe it's about booking appointments. Maybe it's about collecting documents. But so this doesn't sound so abstract. Let me give a very tangible example. So in our freight brokerage experience, we might get a call or not a call. We'll get an email from a forwarder saying, hey, we got this load. It's got to go from Dallas to Phoenix on Tuesday. Details about the load, yes? And awkwardly, that forwarder or shipper might CC not just ourselves as acting as the carrier in this example, but 8 or 9 other carriers as well. Basically, the vendors. Those are the 9 who are solicited to cover this load, yes? And putting aside that it's kind of awkward that all the vendors can see each other and maybe they're replying all and everyone can see the rate, which is pretty yikes. It struck us that it's very interesting that so many people are being engaged for these types of interactions and what actually was learned. So in that example, right, one carrier will say $1,000 and let's say they win the load, good. And that's logged in the TMS, the Transportation Management System. So that's learned knowledge, yes? But what about the other 9? The 3 of them who said, I don't operate in the Southwest. The 2 of them who said, well, this is more of a full truckload thing, but I don't have a reefer trailer. I suppose reefer is not so pertinent to Auto Holland, but it is enclosed versus, okay. But these different ways of feedback that they're getting, it's just happening over email, and maybe your operations rep will remember so long as your operations rep still works there, and then they leave and they take that knowledge elsewhere. That's knowledge that your organization should be learning about your carrier's preferences. And let's not also mention the other folks who bid $800, $900, $1,200, $1,500. We've seen some pretty hilarious spreads on like a 2-to-1 basis where one guy will say 1,400, another will say 700, and it's like, that is a spread right there. And it's just really interesting to capture that in a holistic way where you can learn from these patterns that your own carriers are conveying to you over time, rather than relying on the old memory, which can escape us sometimes.
And we have on one of the, maybe the most popular load board, there's a compare button. Yeah. But what I think I mean to say is I like the way you're analyzing information from the get-go, right? Anytime you see an email like that with 9 other people copied,
yep,
it should be a moment of pause.
Sure.
Now, if you're too busy and you can't analyze that, that's a shame.
Yeah.
But anytime I've been a part of a reply to all and there's this new information, yeah, I take a moment, I look, because you should.
You got to run the odds. I mean, okay, if I got a 1 in 10 chance, is juice worth squeeze? That's a fair question.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's interesting. Okay, so keep going. So you've got, okay, so here you are. Shipper sent an email to everybody.
Yeah.
Now what do you do?
Yeah, so the solution that we've developed that certainly we'll demo in a little bit, this is communications and workflow software for initiating workflows with your external party. So our primary audience is freight brokers who are using this software, to be clear. Now, the first workflow that we're supporting is capacity and rate requests with their carriers to say, okay, I have to get this load covered. I'm going to describe the basic details of it. I'm going to push that out to my carriers who can be organized to say, these are the carriers who are the Southwest ones, here's the Northeast ones, right? So these carriers that I've learned from respond the best to this. So these are the ones who are going to get this request, yes? And this request can be pushed out in an omni-channel manner. What do we mean by omni-channel? It's to acknowledge that there's a diversity in personalities and lifestyles, and some carriers will prefer to get an email, others a text message, others a robocall, and there's different circumstances for these things. So you can push it in an omni-channel manner. So whoever should get the call gets the call, whoever should get the email gets the email, and they have a way of responding in a structured way. So you can collect all those responses of this guy said yes, that guy said no, this guy said $1,200, capture it all in one place. So you can have an organized view of how is this load getting covered, who's responding, what are they saying, who's in, who's out, who hasn't responded, and you have a framework to get this little task or ticket done, if you will. And then you can learn from it as well. So and we're just applying this to this load coverage. But in the future, you can imagine pushing an appointment request where you push an appointment where it says, hey, can you do 10, 9, or 11:30? And they can click a button that says 11:30, boom, booked it. As opposed to this back and forth that you can sidestep. This concept also applies to collecting documents. You can push a document request to say, hey, it looks like the load's done. Let's push this document request by way of text message in one example has a link, you click the link, upload the document, boom, satisfied it. As opposed to even the examples you just showed earlier, where it's super loosey-goosey, just people kind of texting each other. We're trying to put a little more structure around it. And there's one key point to really consider here, though, that we don't want to burden carriers with an extra level of friction. The carriers shouldn't need to create email password and all this just to respond to a simple request. The carriers shouldn't have to install an app just to respond to a simple request. That's a very big concept here, because we're trying to let you have your cake and eat it too. You want to be able to capture a higher standard of data, have a little more process, but you also don't want to burden your carriers, because let's be honest, a lot of carriers will say, I don't work with you that often, forget it, I'm not installing your app. Sorry, no. So we're trying to strike that balance, and that's the opportunity we see.
I like where you talk about burden, is that because like I do a lot of research and reading of articles, and the moment that I have to, there's a pop-up and I can't continue reading, and they're asking even if it's a penny, I am out of there.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So no password, no login. I like that too. Another thing I was thinking about is, I think one of the problems is, like Brian was saying in the live chat, he has told whatever random caller that I don't haul cars anymore.
Yeah.
Why is it that there isn't anybody, or does somebody have to be designated? What's the best way to take those updated information pieces and execute that information? Because the random caller, I guess, isn't the person to do that. How do you do this? For example, you send out those messages and there's replies.
Yep.
How do you take that new information to make your system better? Is that automated? How does that work?
And that's the beauty of it, because what you're speaking to is what's commonly called tribal knowledge inside of a broker, where different employees just kind of know, oh, I got a guy for this, and I got a guy for that, and I got a guy who responds best to this or that. But that's tribal knowledge, as opposed to knowledge that the whole organization can learn. Because by having structure around it, because think of it this way, right? If you just call someone loose, it's true, you can check your Verizon bill and see I called Ted at 3:39 p.m. I guess you could do that. So in a certain sense, you do have the data. But with this, it's the data is sort of first class, if you will, in the sense that you can learn these behaviors about, hey, wait a minute, we tried to call this guy 3 times and each time it gives us a Verizon disconnected. Let's learn from that, and the system can kind of say, this is dead, you should follow up and see what's going on. Same thing with bounced emails. People leave companies, right? So it doesn't have to be each of your employees have to make the mistake 5 times. It's why not one person learns it, and bigger picture, and let's see, but there could be a bigger network picture here where we could learn about at least which sort of lines are available or not, and learn about carrier preferences that can benefit the broader network of participants rather than just one-to-one type of situation. Although, to be clear, for the foreseeable future, this is about your Rolodex and your carriers who you work with. So that's where we see this. And if I can introduce one distinction as well. Now, I want to acknowledge load boards, of course. Now, load boards absolutely have a fully legitimate place in this universe. There's a time and a place for it all. There's a time and a place for the load board to get it out there and try to get it covered if you can't find someone. There's also a time and a place when you're trying to deepen your relationship with the carriers you have. And we've observed a cultural shift, maybe in the last year or two, right, of brokers making a much more concerted effort to say, rather than kind of randomly grabbing whoever, I'm going to actually commit to, like you said earlier, 20 carriers, 100 carriers, not 10,000 carriers that I actually work with on a regular basis, hopefully first name basis, right, who we can really deepen that with.
So I just made a note, robocall.
Yeah.
Usually has a negative connotation.
It does. It still does, yeah.
But the purpose of your robocall, because I found myself, I'm like, I'm just going to say automated phone call, right? Not that I have to do that, but I want to be clear that this is a phone call that you get that's an automated recording containing the information you need, rather than, hey, what's going on? How are you? How's the fam? Right? What did you do last weekend? Now we're 10 minutes into catching up, but really I don't have time for that.
Sure.
Fact,
well, again, time and a place, right? I mean,
time and a place.
I got no problem with occasional conversations like that, of course. But let me tell you the genesis of where this whole robocall thing come from. It didn't come from day one when we were after this journey here. It came from a broker out in Sacramento, and their customer, their shipper, was saying, "Hey, broker, we're going to tender you loads, and you have 15 minutes to accept or reject." And so what's actually happening is the shipper will tender them a truckload, yes, and the ops rep will scramble like hell. Hopefully they were watching their email like a hawk, so they didn't lose one of the 15 minutes. So they open the email, and off to the races. They blast an email to 100 people, and they're dialing for dollars. Just making it happen until the 15 minutes are up. If they get someone, they get it. If they don't, they don't. But with the dial-in part, now we can help in both vectors here. With the dialing part, dialing takes time to dial someone. Ring, 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 no answer. Okay, next one. With this, you can say, select the group of carriers who have mobile phone numbers on file that service this area, push the robocall. You can simultaneously dial 30. And within 2 minutes, you'll understand who's in and who's out. So, as our basic prototype, it'll give the carrier a way of dialing 1 if they're interested, dialing 2 if they're not. So you've narrowed your search within 2 minutes, because that's how long it's going to take to call, and either they respond or they don't, right? Within 2 minutes, you'll learn of the 30, okay, I got 3 who are serious about this. Some folks who didn't respond, and some folks who said no. It's a snap poll is what it is. And then you could follow up with the 2 or 3 who expressed interest and make it happen. You save yourself 27 calls that are totally wasting everyone's time. So that's the mentality that we're after here. And we want to keep it to a tight, reasonable number of carriers. There will be no scenario where we're going to let you robocall 1,000 people for one load. That's disrespectful. It's rude. It's probably cost prohibitive. It's got a lot of problems. This is about a very tailored communication, which is an opportunity we see in robocall that, I got to be honest, I got 7 bad robocalls today from total spammers. Oh yeah, robocall is bad in most senses of the word. But with some control, with some discipline, we see a lot of opportunity.
I love it. Okay, so you've got my attention and my interest. So let's go into phase 2.
Okay.
I think I've screen shared, and and then let's continue. This is getting very interesting.
Okay, I appreciate it. Excellent. So here I'm going to share my screen. Yes.
Yes.
So one moment.
Yeah, and I see in the live chat, great conversation back and forth. Yeah, someone, thank you, Candy. See if you can help K Tourist out, because we hate to hear that. Nobody should be out money. No carrier, no dispatcher, So thank you, Candy. Appreciate that. Helping the community.
Awesome.
And if you're just joining now, I just want to say this. We're only 1 hour into the show. We got another hour left. And we're about to get a demonstration of Vendorflow. We are live with Eric. And mic check 1, 2, 3. Is my audio okay? I know it changes a little bit. I'm going to hand it to Eric here in a second. Mic check 1, 2. Eric's like, really? You're doing a mic check? Okay, buddy, it's all you.
Love it. Well, thank you. So, okay, well, how about this? Let me set up the story before we dive straight in. So, okay, the classic story might be I'm maybe a auto shipper, maybe I'm a broker, and I got to get a load moved. And I have a list of carriers who I work with, and I want to push this load out to them to see who's interested and what rates they expect to be paid to service this load, yes? So the mobile phone's on the side here. You'll see what that's about in a moment. Just hang in there. But here's the tool itself. So, you were talking about a Chrome extension earlier, which indeed is what we built. Why did we do a Chrome extension? Well, when we were working in a freight brokerage, we observed a lot of people using Google Chrome with a lot of tabs. And we mean a lot of tabs, dozens of tabs. And it can be stressful to have this urgent thing kind of lost in a sea of tabs. So we want this to be like a tool in the tool belt, like as easy as reaching for your coffee. There's coffee in here, don't worry, on your desk. And that we want it to be just right there for you these are usually urgent situations. You're trying to get these loads covered. And you can see the little 5 badge. You got to zoom in a bit, but that's saying that like 5 responses, just like on your text messages, right? You got some responses from carriers. That's the story here. So let's go through the story here. So each of these are little loads that were requested. Let's go through the whole story. I didn't mean to click that. So we're going to go to automotive hauler because we have these different templates for full truckload, less truckload, drayage, but automotive hauler is really the story here. And what we're going to do first is describe this load. What are the details that I need to convey to carriers so they can give an informed response if they're interested or not, or what the story may be, yes? So first of all, we have an auto VIN decoder. Well, first, okay, so let's say there's 4 units that are going to move for your internal purposes. Maybe, you'll have some ID that you're tracking. You can express, is it auto hauler generally speaking or the enclosed style? Let's be fancy today and say it's enclosed. And I just grabbed some VINs off the side, Hollywood magic, and I'm pasting that in here, yes? So we got 4, and I'm gonna hit enter on my keyboard. And so that just the little conversion, right? To say, okay, these VINs translate to these types of trucks. He likes it, very nice. And then, yeah, you could make further changes. Maybe it's inoperable, so on and so forth. Okay, so we got our 4 cars, and where are they going? So they're going from a Toyota dealership in around LA, it looks like. Let's say, I don't know, tomorrow. And then this one's gonna have to get pushed out a bit. So there's room to add extra details. So for example, like call before arrival, and there could be other requirements like certain tickets are needed or whatever the requirements may be. It's going to Sparks, Nevada. Okay. And any other details that might need to be put. So appointment is needed, sure. Any expectations you wish to set. So here's the basic details. If you wish, optionally, you can have an opinion on what you think a fair rate is to kind of baseline things, or you could keep it open-ended based on how people want to respond. I have no idea what the appropriate rate is. That's what Quotify is for, right? Yeah, I don't know.
That's it.
I make no claims here on this if this is an appropriate quote. But okay, so I'll put that in as an example, and please include full rate for all vehicles, something of that sort, right? Okay. Now it's a question of, well, who should receive this quote request or this rate request? Yeah. So I've got myself. And we could organize this, for example, by having these different groups. So I click one and boom, bang, you get like all 10 of them. In this example, I'll keep it light just to a few of us. So I know this guy, Jay, and he wants it by robocall, if I recall. So what we're gonna do here, let me add one more just to be thorough. Okay, so we got the full combo. So this guy's gonna get a text message. That guy is going to get a robocall, and this guy's going to get an email, okay? So it's the idea of pushing in, one singular message out by these different channels in a way so we can collect it in a standardized way, even though it went by these different ways. Okay, so I'm going to submit this. And, yep, so we've got a few things going on.
Oh, and I've got my ringer off. Oh, here I got a call coming in, though.
Oh, yeah?
All right, let's see what we got here.
Hello, carrier partner. Acme Logistics is seeking a quote for auto hauler from Los Angeles, California to Sparks, Nevada, picking up July 7th. To request a callback about this load, press 1. To decline, press 2. To repeat this message, press 3.
So
Should I do anything? What was declined? 2?
2 is declined.
All right, no.
We didn't receive any input. Goodbye.
Oh, I probably didn't get it in time. Okay.
I had it timed out. That's all right.
All right.
So we got your response, and we're capturing the little events here too, if things are delivered or not responded to, or things of this nature. And on the side, we also got an SMS going over here. So we received this from Bob Broker, and there's an important. Well, before I distract you much more with interface here, so let's acknowledge that we want these calls to not come from some weird, sketchy Vendorflow phone number. We want it to come from your phone number as the broker, because your carriers will recognize your phone number. They're more likely to pick it up, they're more likely to respond, all these good things, and they can respond to it. Because if it's just a random number, they call it back and it's like a weird, dead Verizon something, who knows. This has got to be your phone number. So with a little IT configuration, we set that up. The way we like to go about this is understand, what are you using? Are you using Ring Central? You're using Dialpad? You're using Nextiva? Other VoIP providers will be integrating with that layer so that these communications can go through you, from you, like through your channels with your branding, as opposed to this totally isolated little thing on the side, is an important concept to take away here. So back to the story here, though. As a carrier on my phone, I received this text. Yes. So it's a capacity request, automotive quote from LA.
Is this from a shipper?
Yeah, so that's right. So the phone holder, well, me and what you can see on the screen, this is the carrier, to be clear. The shipper
okay.
or broker initiated this request. Yes.
Okay.
And to be clear, sure, a shipper might initiate it to a broker, and a broker might turn around and initiate it to a carrier. So I acknowledge, shippers could use this, brokers could use this just the same. So as a carrier, I'm going to tap on this link here, and it's going to take me to what we call the vendor or sort of rate or bid page where they can respond. So, super important, no install required here, right? It's just boom, it's a link straight to it, right? No nonsense. So they get right to it, you can review the details, scrolling down, okay, cool, yep, it's these 4 vehicles and their details. And 2000, I see your 2000 and I raise you to 2250, includes full rate, let's say that, okay, submit. So now we got another response. And there's one last channel, right? So Bob also got this. So thank you for submitting a rate. So it's not a rate confirmation in the formal sense of the word, but it is an acknowledgement that this was submitted, yes? So we captured that. Now, let's also acknowledge, though, that we did a robocall, a text message, and an email to yet a different carrier. So a different carrier got this email here. It's saying, this broker is requesting capacity or rates associated with this load, and you can submit a rate or you could decline. So far we've been submitting rates, I guess. So let's do the decline path just to show that. And here we are, as you said, a third carrier who's responding this way, and they're saying, yeah, look, I don't do the Southwest. Oops, you get the idea. So we can learn this. And in the future, it can say, well, next time you try to solicit that guy about the Southwest, it can start to say things like, hey, remember, this is the guy who said he doesn't do that. So, oh, right. You can still, you're a big boy, you can still make decisions on what you want to do. But we can at least help to kind of inform this, so we're making sure you're maximizing and respecting people's time, because you're going to get more responsiveness from carriers if they have the confidence that it's more tailored than spam blasting, shall we say. So moving on, if I pop open the Chrome extension again, right, back to now I'm the broker again, yes, or the shipper. I've opened up this Chrome extension. I've got these responses have come in. This text message person, which was over here, right, put in 2250.
Yeah.
This person said no because they don't do that lane, and this person it looks like it timed out. So I think it went a little too long. We can play with that, but we didn't log a response from a robocall. Yeah.
Okay.
So now to wrap up this story, I can award this when I'm satisfied with who I think it should be. Looks like the SMS guy got it, right? So you see, you're awarded. Auto quote, details.
You were awarded. Nice.
It's worth acknowledging, and I don't know if my business partner is ready.
Maybe there should be a little, you were awarded.
Right. And forgive me, I'll be gentle on the audio because I don't want to create a feedback loop here. But it's just acknowledging that I can call this number back and say, hey, I'm so glad I got this awarded, but there's a little something I want to clarify. Let me call you. Boom, right to it. So it's not like this weird separate channel. No, it's got to be in channel. And I'll hang up because if my business partner starts talking, there'll probably be weird feedback, so we'll pass on that. So that's how we're looking at this. So now it's been awarded, and that's the story for this quote request situation, right? So that little workflow has been resolved, and you can imagine us getting into other workflows, like I said, appointments and collecting documents, disputing fees, getting consent or approval for certain fees like detention and things like this. That's how we see this, because you can imagine another story. If I could just bring one up, I'm going to assume this is true.
Keep going. This is amazing.
Thank you. I assume this is true in automotive hauling, the concept of detention, when maybe you sent a truck to an auction site and the auction site's wasting their time, they're keeping them around for like 3-4 hours. I assume at some point there's a concept of charging detention fees.
So detention is in freight.
Yep.
They don't have detention in auto transport, but we have other similar problems that freight doesn't have, such as like a gate pass.
Sure.
Or information that's literally holding you from doing anything.
Yeah.
in which case, but in freight, you know, there's compensation for detention.
Yeah.
Not an auto transport.
Oh darn. Rough. Yeah.
I know.
Well, the point was, if there's a situation arises and you're a broker in this example, and you need to get a consent from your shipper, your customer, to say, hey, is it okay if my carrier proceeds with this? So I'm going to send you a consent, just a super easy push with a button that says I consent or I don't. Now you have some record of at 11:05, I sent them the consent request. At 11:52, they opened it. At 11:58, they clicked that they consent. Who did? Well, this person did. And there's room to sort of discuss that. These are the type of workflows and interactions that we find really interesting. And there's going to be a whole host of them over time. So this is why we want to talk with folks in auto hauling. And
exactly. Well, and the communication could be, so, yeah. and I could see, so you've got 20 carriers in your group, yeah. right? And you were able to send it to 20 people at once rather than making 20 random phone calls.
Right.
It's not as random there, but you still don't know what'll happen. Will they answer? Who's going to answer? What do they know about the route?
Yep.
Did I just wake somebody up? Is somebody at the scale?
Sure.
Whereas, and even dealers know this through text, they are selling more cars and getting more customers through service, and there's more satisfaction because they did it all through text.
Yeah.
Some things are by phone or in person, but many things are just by text.
Absolutely, which is why, yeah, we see a lot of opportunity in integrating with dial pads and Ring Centrals and Xtivas of the world. Because, yeah, it's kind of this divorce situation where you got email over here, you got dial pad or Ring Central, your VoIP over here, really not talking to each other. But there's kind of a CRM of carriers that you work with in the middle, so to speak. And you want to learn about their preferences. And as you can see here, we do have a lightweight way of organizing your carriers based on these different ways how you wish to organize them to sort of blast out.
Once you create your carrier groups, man, that's incredible. So a little bit of setup time, but still, even though you were in the Chrome extension entering information,
yeah,
while there may be a little extra time at the front end, think of all the time you save, right? On all that dialing. Wow. That's amazing.
Yes, and it also gives you a means of being organized. I mean, what did we just do today? Well, we did this example here.
Totally. So, yeah, exactly. After 20 phone calls, now you have 20 scribbles.
Right. Yeah. Well, here we capture the scribbles in the computer, and so nice and organized. And there's room for reporting too. So there's going to be reports about show me by this lane which carriers are most responsive or who give the best rates. All this is captured and structured. It's rather intentional that we're doing this, and that's so you can learn about your vendors and really tighten the way you're interacting with them, rather than this sort of post and pray, spray and pray approach.
Yeah, no, totally. And even on let's say you've got, I see that because you could go to the next level. And I think, by the way, if you're done with the demo, I'm going to unshare and then we'll start the, yeah, perfect. And I'll start the invites here. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to ask you a question or make a comment. My comment really is that, then let's say you're the chosen carrier or you're the award winner, right? Yeah, you get to location and you find out it isn't paid for. Or maybe as you're approaching, let's say the moment you find out it's a salvage auto auction, you're texting back, can I get the buyer number, the lot number, and is it paid for? How many days of storage are paid? And this is where we can help you learn those questions that based on the type the way I break down information in a dispatch is by what kind of location is it. If it's a dealer, then I need to know these things.
Yep.
If it's an auction, I need to know this. If it's a resident, here's what I'm looking for. Yes, by location. And that will give me the next level of prompts. I went ahead and sent that email out, and so we'll keep visiting until they get here. But now the panel's about to start, so get ready. And I don't know what's going to happen. It could be an intense pressure squeezer. No. This is Auto Transport Intel.
As you're saying, though, I welcome the opportunity to learn about these different cases. Because really, what is it? You know how we had the full truckload LTL drayage and automotive template, if you will? just different templates for different purposes that are super common. Just a matter of spinning that up as we learn about folks and the ways they work. We love it, so we want to get into it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, our first guest is Mark Grodicke of SuperFlo Systems. He's getting dialed in. I see Constantine coming in the room, and then we'll start to say hello to folks. While they're doing that, I'm going to check the live chat. Let's see here. So we still have... Okay, this is an interesting... we have a conversation between Candy and K-Tourist about a carrier, about pay, about dispatching. This would probably be offline at this point. What I was looking for is I was trying to see if there's anything in the live chat that would mimic a use case of Vendorflow. But maybe no luck for now, because the thing is that number one, it's evening. Not as much dispatching happens in the evening. And also, people don't book loads live on Auto Transport Intel, which we used to do. That would be on Thursdays. Eric, homework assignment. You should join us on a Thursday at noon on Dispatching Live and see what's going on there. All right, let's do this. I do introductions with whoever I saw come through the door first, because that's how real life works. So we're going to do virtual life a la real life. First in here, Mark is setting up his audio, but Constantine from All Car Haulers. Constantine, can you see us and hear us okay? Oh, check that audio. You're probably muted because I asked you to do that. No. Oh, and I saw the mute and I saw the unmute. So what it means is there's a microphone selection. You might want to go into your settings and double check your microphone. Eric, can you see us and hear us okay?
Yes, can you hear me, Jay?
I can hear you. I can see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Eric, we have never met.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name's Eric Field. I'm the founder of Guardian Auto Transport. We're a broker in the auto transport space. So actually, a lot of those freight terms that you mentioned are completely foreign to me. But we do know our way around shipping cars. So
I love it. Well, we'll learn from each other. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Start video.
That's awesome. And that's what's interesting, Eric, isn't it? How different our sister industries are. It is. It's pretty wild. So, excellent, Eric. Thank you for saying hello. Let me go. Okay, Mark, can you see us and hear us?
I can, Jay. How are you tonight?
How you doing, buddy? Thanks for
Good.
joining us, tuning
Yeah.
in. Hey, and thank you, White. Thank you for ringing the cowbell. I really do
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. Yeah, man, that's awesome.
You're
Thank
welcome.
You so much.
Sorry, I had a little malfunction with my microphone right at first. I don't know, speaker microphone, but so I dialed in.
That's cool. No, and that's... Hey, okay, so Constantine may need to dial in. Okay, yeah, should we do that? Okay, let's go to camera one. Auto Transport Intel. Take two.
Take two.
All right, cool. So what's official? We've got that out of the way. Constantine, can you see us and hear us okay?
I can see and hear you. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. We can see you. And so thank you. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And I think finally, let's see if... Is Shaun here?
I'm here. I'm just having trouble with my video.
Okay, no problem at all. It seems like we have a night of squirrels in the XLR. Not a problem. That's normal here on Auto Transport Intel. By the way, mic check 1 2 3. Can you guys still hear me? Okay. Okay. My audio changes over time, which is fun. Real good time.
You sound good.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, folks, you've seen Eric. You've heard Eric.
That was cool, Eric. That was very cool. Very cool.
Get your laptop?
We have.
And
we
Shaun,
have some,
hey, do me a favor, Shaun. Sorry about that. Shaun, mute your mic while you're troubleshooting, and go ahead,
Will
Mark.
do.
Thank you, Shaun.
So, I haven't had a carrier ask me, or a broker rather, ask me ever. But today we had a broker call up and say, hey, can you get phone burner that we have in our system for our CRM for our brokers to make outbound calls to their customers who are quote requesting? We had a broker today ask us if we could do the same thing for carriers. And my first thought was, we're not going to do that. We're not going to dial that many carriers, but you broke that down so nicely, and I could see that working very well with our system. We have in our CRM, we have a portion every time somebody has an order. We have something called My Carrier Network, and the broker can open up a window and it lists all the carriers that have run that route. So not the spraying and praying kind of, but they actually trying to target carriers that have run that route. And we break it down in relevance to how close it is to your actual move. So we look for zip code to zip code, and that's a 10 out of a 10 relevance, and a zip code at the origin matching the metro of the destination, that's a 9 out of a 10, and a zip code at the destination coming back to the metro of the origin, and so on to metro, and then metro to state, and state to metro. We break that all down, and we give people choices who they want to target with either a text message, an email, and maybe now with, if you have some APIs available, or we have APIs, we could break down and do some calling as well. That is very, very cool. I think our guys could enhance the My Carrier Network. They already have something that's targeted. It's not something so random that they don't know what it is. It's carriers that have actually run that route before, and breaking that down. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool portion.
No, I love that.
It could fit with some of our stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all that, and we see ourselves, to be abundantly clear, as the friend of the TMS. We love TMSs and CRMs for that matter. We're looking to be a layer upon that, a communications layer upon to enrich the way they want to push a workflow or contact someone out of those systems. That's really where we're coming into play. We're not trying to build a TMS of our own. We think there's a good amount of them already in the market, well, at least in broader freight markets, certainly. That's the opportunity we see, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And to add to that as well, I think the preferred communication channel and then the data and feedback you can get from there could be very useful for contacting some of those carriers. If I can just ask a couple of things. By the way, Eric, I really like the presentation. A couple of things stood out to me. One in particular was, I guess we are one of those brokers that really focuses on building relationships with carriers. Just from a trust perspective, if things tend to go wrong, which they do often, it's a lot easier to work with someone that you have an established relationship with. That being said, if I'm working with Bob, the carrier, and we've been on a first name basis for 6, 8, 12 months, they understand not only have a great relationship with the dispatcher that they've been working with or the sales rep that they've been working with most often, but they understand how we operate as a company. I think it's a lot easier to streamline the communication. So this would be a very valuable tool to have to sort of speed up the process with carriers that we already have relationships with. So that is something that we actively focus on. We don't just want to give the load to anyone. Our mission is actually to provide the smoothest customer experience in auto shipping. And then another thing that stood out to me that you said was tribal knowledge. There are so many moving pieces and so many personalities. And a lot of times the reason we end up working with a carrier is just because we go off of a gut feeling. But if we had additional data to collect based on the interaction or the communication with the carriers that we are working with, it definitely would give us a leg up when we are training new personnel. I mean, ultimately, it all becomes tribal knowledge. If they're interacting with your system or our TMS, it doesn't matter. But it's definitely a better feedback loop that will allow people to learn quicker. So.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate both of those notes. And yeah, that's totally fair. We've seen the same in several organizations with respect to tribal knowledge. And it's not just about, I mean, on one hand, it's about your own organization having a shared understanding, but also creating a framework so you can give structured feedback to your carriers. So it's rather than just being some ad hoc, one time this happened and I'm going to give you feedback on it. It's like, well, there's a pattern. It's like, for example, we've heard stories like, hey, carrier, you give great rates, you awesome service, but man, you take about 4 hours to reply to our requests, and the market rate for that, the going rate is about 2 hours. We love you, but what can we do to tighten this up? Is there a better way we can reach you? Let's work together on this because we want to work together. And that's the orientation we're trying to create, rather than just sort of ad hoc, oh, this one time I think this happened and that's why I'm giving you feedback. There's a lot less based in reality. But no, I appreciate that a lot.
And then a specific question I had about the workflow. If the load is accepted, does it kill the link for everyone else? I saw that you had the listed offers. Yep. Does it kill the link for everyone else? Or is it like, first come, first serve? And then if it gets rejected, does everyone else get notified? Or do you choose someone through the pop-up, and then after that, it then notifies all the other carriers?
Yeah, so we have a good number of those little elements covered. I'm not going to claim we got every base covered for these different cases, but yeah, certainly. So if you award it to someone, it will close the eligibility for others. So we don't want to waste people's time and have more people bidding and hoping they're going to get something. We'll close it, and you have the option to notify your carriers that it's over. But there's also another scenario. There's a million scenarios in logistics, right, where the carrier falls off and they say, actually, never mind, I can't do it. So you can revoke the award and then open it back up again. So what we want to do is create a situation where you can notify the carriers who, quote unquote, lost the load, for lack of a better word, that they're not going to get this one. But what we want to do is get into a game of giving them little nibbles of feedback about maybe why they lost, or maybe a little bit of data about like how quickly the winner responded. I mean, I know there's a balance of privacy and this and that, but there's a little something that we feel like if you give a little data back to the carrier, that they'll appreciate that and they'll be more engaged, and at least they're getting something out of it. They're learning at least, even if they're not winning. So that's kind of where we're going with this, yeah.
And I think that the data will ultimately confirm the tribal knowledge, or the tribal gut instinct, if you want to call it that, in terms of responsiveness and just awarding the loads, yeah. Segmenting the groups.
I have a question that I've been meaning to ask folks, and this is the perfect group if that's okay, which is, so as a carrier, right, you receive a solicitation like this, right, that's saying, hey, I got this load. Would it be helpful to give the carrier a sense for how many other carriers are involved in this? There's super hard trade-offs here. On one hand, it's more respectful to the carrier to say, hey, like you're one of a small number, you're seriously part of my short list. This is why you're being included in this. Because you could imagine a carrier psychology being like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm 1 in 100, so if I'm just 1 of 100, then forget it. I'm interested in how you guys weigh those trade-offs and that kind of psychology. Whether you're using this tool or just in general, how do you make carriers feel special? Let's put it that way. How do you balance that? You see what I mean?
And before that ends, I want to say, hey, Shaun, can you see us and hear us okay?
I can. Sorry about that, guys. Hey. I had to switch out computers.
Sure. Thanks for
Shaun.
Taking the time to join us, Shaun. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having
and
me.
Shaun, we've never met before either, so I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, cool. So, yeah, how do you make a carrier feel special? That's a really interesting question.
Send them flowers. Personalized communication. It's all about the relationship at the end of the day.
Yeah, just to add on, it's all relationship building. They're dealing with brokers all day long that it might be burning them, or have been, they burnt them in the past. So just building the relationship, building some trust, and working with them, as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, I love it.
One of the things I was thinking, so let's say I got a text that I was carrier 1 of 5 that received this text, right? Would I like that more than not knowing at all? And like what I want to know, I'm carrier 1 of 20 that got a text. The thing is, whether I like it or not, it gives me information that if I'm 1 of 20, how fast do I want to react? Or, right?
Maybe, because the other 19 might be across the pond at this point. I might be the only one, literally, in the area be able to take that load.
True. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many, right?
That's true. Because yeah, you as the carrier, you don't know how tailored that 20 really is and how relevant it is to that particular 20. So yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the broker would need to know that all 20 are they're all in LA today,
yeah,
and have availability to pick up that load going to Texas.
Yeah.
And not to Montana or wherever else they're going, right?
Yeah.
Which actually, I have a question there. So I think the use case for us would more so be working with carriers that we know run particular lanes, because you can think of it in terms of like LTL for us, right? So they're having to schedule multiple pickups and deliveries before they go from one major metro to another. So I guess the thing that's most useful for us, especially with the carriers that we have relationships with, is being able to organize them by the route, 1, and 2, checking the availability. So a lot of times we'll already know what the market rate is, or they'll take it at the market rate. They'll take it at the rate that we give them even sometimes, just because we have such a great relationship. But knowing their availability and the dates that they'd be able to pick up. So for example, if I have a customer that has a vehicle that needs to go to Florida, I'd contact the carrier that we use most often going to Florida, and I'd say, hey, do you have any availability for Tuesday or Wednesday? If not, what's your next available pickup date? That would be the most useful thing for us to spray out if we have a list of carriers. Because especially right now in the peak season, we'll call the carrier that we prefer to work with, and they might not have availability for 3 weeks.
Yep. No, that's a great use case. And yeah, I mean, we just happen to have built the first thing to be about rate requests and so on. But if you think about it, it's a way of pushing out a little snap poll or a mini survey or a mini document capture when we're going out that way. That's where we're going with this. And when we hear stories like that, I mean, we already have 90% of the infrastructure to facilitate this. Just a matter of different template. Okay, the fields they submitted a little different. Okay, fine. Build that out, and it's for the benefit of not just one broker, but hopefully so many more to benefit from it. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I'll just jump in here. I think Mark was touching on it before. I mean, obviously, we like to embrace technology and looking for anything you can put in all in one place that contact the carriers and get the job done quicker. We currently do use some email with our request center and requesting some loads back and forth and some text message, but you're not really hitting everyone that you want to. We're doing the whole tribal stuff, calling around. We were talking about it today that there has to be a better way of doing all this. So something like this where you can put it all in one place definitely would be helpful for us.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's good to hear. And I mean, what VoIP software is common, would you say, in sort of auto hauling, shipping, and brokering? I mean, if you're me speaking more from a freight perspective, I hear Ring Central the most, then I hear Nextiva the second most, and then I hear Dialpad the third most. Is there a common sort of best practice out there for VoIP software?
Just on software side, I mean, my CRM is.
So I think he's asking for the on the phone side, aren't you, Eric? Yeah. So the phone side and how he can integrate that. So Eric at Guardian and Shaun at Travelers both use our CRM Pro ABD, and I think we should probably get together at some point, Eric, and see what kind of APIs that we could tie in together, and how you monetize that, how you're going to charge our guys, and that would be interesting. I see some cool advantages, and it was very coincidental. I got that call today, somebody asking almost exactly for that. I thought that was very interesting when I heard you start talking about that. So as Shaun said, we Pro ABD, the CRM that our guys are using.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity to add on to that, absolutely. I mean, we're not terribly interested in building redundant software, so to the extent you already got this much of it and we just add a little layer, wonderful. That's how we like to work with folks.
So our guys are good at with APIs, and if we could get an API into that extension, we could put that data that they already have the order, they already have the information that could go right in at just being able to initiate the process, the information of the vehicle and what they're shipping and possibly what the price is would already be there through the API. It would be very quick.
Yeah, this is the way we see ourselves in interacting with and partnering with TMS providers, and also to bring Constantine in, yes, all car haulers, a little bit. Similar idea there. You could imagine the point at which I'm going to push this out to who or to whom, I guess if we're being fancy, to which this list of carriers, I assume Constantine, you got them organized in various ways. You could imagine an API that's kind of helping search or organize, which carriers, well, you tell us about how that's structured, but you can imagine it tapping into that, assuming if there's content information, pushing by way of those channels.
Okay. Now, Eric, were you planning on, now there's going to be a lot of regulation coming in as far as mass texting and all that. Yeah. What kind of unsubscribe feature would be allowed towards the carrier, number one?
Yeah.
What will the broker need on his end to make sure he's not blasting anybody?
Yeah.
And everybody? And if you're let's say a new broker on the scene and don't really have relationships yet, like Eric and Mark and everybody else has, would they be able to, let's say, even go through my list, smash down all those phone numbers and just blast out text randomly, essentially?
It's true. There do need to be controls and limits about, one, just how many is appropriate to be soliciting for one particular load. That's one element. You also brought up unsubscribe and preferences, whether we're talking about email or text or robocall. All these need some level of control for carriers. And at the beginning, so if you're a broker and you're bringing in a carrier that Vendorflow's never heard of, then yeah, you're gonna hit them with it, right? But we're gonna have a very lightweight opt-in process so the carrier can opt in and express what they are comfortable with or not comfortable with. And we see this going in a direction where the carrier can unsubscribe from a broker, well, bigger picture, unsubscribe from a lane or a broker or a type of equipment. We can kind of map these different elements that are being requested to say, well, first, is it even relevant to them? And then there's the communication channel. Maybe they just say, look, thanks, but I don't want these robocalls at all. Well, hey, that's probably, regulation is almost certainly going to require that ability as well. So all of these, but you can imagine the broker starts it and then the carrier can claim their own preferences in a way that can propagate for the benefit of all brokers. Now, I'm not saying sharing contacts between brokers, but if broker A brings on a carrier, we learn about their preferences. Broker B happens to bring on that same carrier. I don't see why we wouldn't propagate that carrier's preferences along. So that's how we're approaching this.
Got a question in the live chat. Fast Eddie. This is a good one. Fast Eddie says, today I arrived at a dealer for a pickup and they didn't have the vehicle on site. How would Vendorflow help me?
I arrived at a pickup and they didn't have the vehicle on site?
Correct.
And you're a carrier?
Yes.
Oh boy. So we do see ourselves, this is probably later in the year to early next year, sort of hot, not, so primarily we're servicing shippers and brokers and freight forwarders today. Now we do see ourselves building products for the benefit of carriers as well. And that would be for carriers to initiate. It's proactive in nature. It's about initiating common workflows with my logistics partners. So if I'm in a situation where it's the car's not here and maybe I'm going to throw out another freight term, so forgive me, truck order not used. Is this the thing?
TONU.
Oh, good.
Not in car hauling though.
No.
But yes. But it's right. But it's the same thing. It's basically we executed an order.
Yeah.
But then you weren't needed.
Right.
And in this way, Fast Eddie showed up.
Yep.
He had a job to do, but couldn't continue with the job. And in this case, oftentimes what happens is a broker might say, yeah, well, lump it.
Lump it.
Meaning, tough luck. Tough luck.
Okay, good. Because there's also a concept of lumper, of course.
I know, right? That's right, and they don't have lumpers in auto transport either. So that was just.
So that's a very
Thanks,
strong
Jay. Great job.
guy picking up the car, I figure.
We have car pullers for Mannheim, right?
Car pullers. That's right. Those are our lumpers. Yes.
But to be clear, though, I'll admit I don't understand the full workflow in play here. But you can imagine, as Fast Steady, I want to initiate a workflow where I'm going to take a picture of the scene where there's nothing here. So I have demonstration. It timestamps it. I can push that back to my customer, my broker in this example, and say, hey, it's not here. And now the broker can sort of acknowledge or approve, or there can be a space in which they can sort of dispute this against that link. You saw the link that's about requesting a quote. It would be a link that's about acknowledging that this didn't happen. And now we have documentation of the situation. So it's not like a he said, she said down the line. That's what we're trying to get out of. We want to have a little more audit trail around these interactions without adding too much friction.
And I want to jump in and say this is that because we were kind of talking about scenarios.
Yeah.
So based on the location, so if I'm a carrier and let's say I accept the load, everything's cool. But I also am tired of showing up at salvage auto auctions without a buyer number, not knowing if it's paid for, not knowing how long it's been in storage, etc. Then you get into almost that interactive checklist where I could be on the way, double checking with you, and maybe still calling them or whatever. I'm driving, chatting with Copart, chatting with a broker. My hands, I don't know who's driving. So,
no, I agree. I mean, this is
futuristic joke, actually.
Yeah, it's nice.
I think that's actually the future of autonomous. In 15 years, if you're in an autonomous vehicle, now you got everything of anyways. I don't want to go down that road. But are you guys seeing Shaun, Eric, Constantine, Mark? I thought of you right away, Mark. Once I started talking to Eric, I think we're 20 minutes into our conversation. I'm like, Mark.
That was a good call. That was a good call. Perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. Are you guys seeing application of
dry run fee is the term that Eric is looking for in our industry, I think, and brokers are faced with that sometimes when there's misinformation. So somebody gets there's a dry run fee, and that's usually charged back to the broker. The brokers hate it, and they tell the carrier, well, you should have called to verify it, as we instructed. So there's some back and forth with that, and I'm sure Shaun and Eric both have some experience with that. And, each situation, I'm sure, is a little different.
We make our whole staff study negotiation because it's usually the more effective communicator that wins. You can't really put these situations into black and white terms that the driver signs off on or the carrier signs off on beforehand. But ultimately, if something does go wrong, it's our ability to communicate with the carrier that resolves the situation, regardless of what's on paper. Because we could have a contract with them, but for all we know, like, they're not answering their phone if the driver is too heated. And trucking companies notorious, and this is nothing against anyone, but they don't specialize in customer service. That's something that we do. So our solution to that has been to study negotiation.
I certainly acknowledge that there's a soft skill aspect to it, yeah. Although also, again, going back to this concept of audit trail, rather than just being, hey, on my Verizon statement, I can prove that I called this phone number at 3:30 p.m. and in that conversation, don't worry, I talked about it, which is an unbelievably roundabout way to demonstrate that communication happened. But what we would want in this context is I'm going to initiate a particular workflow communication. It's called it's a dry run warning call, or however you guys want to think about it. And it's like, okay, this person initiated it at 2:09 p.m. This person received it, they opened the letter, or they clicked into it, whatever it is, and you have a higher standard of documentation. I do totally appreciate Eric's broader point that if you got a good relationship with people, you shouldn't need this level of documentation. But often he or she who has more evidence will also generally win in these types of interactions, I would argue. or disputes?
Depends who the governing body is.
Fair. Yeah.
There is
Who's
none.
the better negotiator?
Yeah. So
The better negotiator. That was smart, Eric. Very smart.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
a little
Shaun,
bit of the Wild
tell
West.
us how they
I
do it
think.
in New York. How do they negotiate in New York, Shaun? What do they say?
We don't.
Dry run fee. Come on.
No, but like Eric was saying, I mean, listen, we're trying to build relationships, not ruin them. So as long as we did everything at our end, and we provided them with the gate pass and all the information that they needed to verify the vehicle was there, and it wasn't a ball dropped on our end, they're going to call us. We're going to go back and forth and negotiate and figure something out that both of us are a little unhappy, but we might need them in the future. So it's not let's not beat them on it. So, but listen, it's our job too to make sure that they have everything that they need to go and get it. We shouldn't be dispatching carriers out without gate passes, without verifying vehicles are there. If that happens, then that's obviously our fault as well. We're not trying to do that. So just trying to build relationships with them, get them the proper information they need, and get the customer their vehicle.
Well, and sometimes, even though when we think of building relationships, we think of in-person communication, hearing, seeing each other, but sometimes just getting additional information without an additional phone call is actually not a bad thing, because you can make something worse with the phone call, whereas if I just get a text, oh, okay, that's cool. Because if I see the phone ringing again, I'm thinking, man, they're just going to cancel or something. There's negativity coming.
So that's a very important one to address. I think that the level of communication, or the standard of communication in our industry and just general freight, is very low. And so I think a lot of carriers and brokers towards each other just have this sort of knee-jerk reaction that if something goes wrong, someone's already on the phone pissed off. So like a more uniform resolution definitely could help out there. But also I always have to go back to this, just training people to understand the environment in which they're approaching the problem is very effective. Collecting data, I think, would be very useful internally. It would give us a quicker feedback loop, meaning that we can train people a lot quicker to recognize certain patterns or be aware of their environment, not to get emotionally involved in these sorts of issues. But so just from that issue resolution perspective, I see data helping when we provide feedback back to people, but I don't necessarily see a quicker resolution. In most cases, that's sort of the hang up there is that the driver or the carrier is trying to deal with the issue, and if their resolution is not effective, and ultimately it's our customer, it's our reputation on the line, if their resolution is not effective, then we have to get involved. And regardless of the button that they pressed, we're still going to have to put someone on the phone to calm people down. And we do deal with a lot of, so the thing that makes our industry different as well, especially as well is that we deal with a lot of personally owned vehicles. So we're delivering customers. We have truck drivers that are interacting directly with, Sherry, who is getting her, Ford F-150 delivered because she moved from Chicago to Los Angeles, for example. So.
I've been on both ends, broker and driver. Having something written down in text form where I could look through and see what everybody told me, what I told them back, would clear a lot of miscommunication. Because I've been on both ends where I said one thing, they heard something else. It got transferred to the third party that's getting the vehicle a different way. And it was just a roundabout communication. And it happens because if you're on the phone with 5 different people an hour, you forget what you told to anybody. You didn't write it down. It happens. Text or email prior to, but text especially, having that string where you can go down and say, hey, Eric, I told you this. Oh, you told me that. Crap, I didn't realize. My bad. Things get a lot less tense when you have it written down. You can see where you made a mistake or if the other guy made a mistake, right? Versus trying to remember what you said.
Constantine brings up a really important point, which is we see a great deal of opportunity in threads, threading around a purpose. So rather than in email right now, it's two employees are emailing each other, and maybe you're CCing and BCCing and forwarding to these people and replying all to CC this guy to bring him in. It's pretty messy and pretty difficult. You know the pain of trying to look at an old thread where there's like 18 backs and forths and like, oh man, like what exactly is going on here? What we want to be able to do is open up a room about a particular topic. Maybe it is about a shipment or about an invoice or about a charge. And so it's not just about this employee and this employee, but it's really about the two companies discussing something such that you can bring in your manager if you need to bring in your manager. You could bring in your joking lawyer or whatever into this room to see the full history of what this topic was about. I don't think email is keeping up with the level of back and forth that's going on between people. And you can imagine this thread, I'm getting a little futuristic, but Jay likes that stuff anyway. He's talking about automated cars and stuff.
I like that email thread. You nailed it. You're right.
Well, no. So you can imagine a web page, right, where it's collating all these text messages from different people and emails from different people. It's all coming together in this grand thread. Even with when you talk about robocall, I'm not talking about recording people's conversation. That's probably a bit much. But you could imagine people recording audio notes. So they got a
voice to text.
Right, they got a robocall that says, hey, where are you, or something. And you can't really dial 1 to respond where you are. So it can just open up like a voicemail and say, okay, beep, like say where you are after the beep, beep. And you could say, oh, I'm actually 20 miles outside. Sorry, like cell phone use is really bad right now. And it can not just collect that audio, but if we want to be real fancy, you can transcribe that to text, right? And now that can go into this grand ledger of this interaction associated with the shipment. That's a bigger picture opportunity. Obviously, we don't have that all right now, but that's giving you a hint at or a vision of sorts of where we're going with all this.
And I'm going to address in the live chat. So Fast Eddie, I know it's easy to tell the carrier that you didn't call ahead, but you think it'd be required, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. I think that we're talking about the same thing. Is that this is authentication and verification of information without having to ask around the office, hey, who talked to Henry, right? Oh, I did. Did you? Okay, do you remember what he said? No, I don't. I just came in from lunch. I think that, yes, there's some level of documentation, interpersonal communication, man. And then the speed, you're overloaded. You got too many things going on. Yeah, I talked to him, but I don't remember. I was trying to book that other load. This is where you don't have enough mouths and you don't have enough ears. It's a problem.
And if you're the manager, after something's already blown up, you're trying to figure out what happened. And, it's going to be hard to track that down with your employee, your line employee. So you can imagine as a manager saying of all the coverage requests that are still active, like let me sort of dig into this one because it's been active for like 8 hours, like what's going on, dig into it. And I can see some of the back and forth. Okay, cool. There's a good reason why it's taking 8 hours. I get it. I don't even need to bother my line employee or whatever the case may be. We want to give a little more visibility to the manager. Now, and I welcome sort of cultural skepticism, though. I mean, maybe operations reps will be, they don't like the idea of their manager being over their shoulder. I don't know. But we see opportunity here either way that's worth exploring, certainly.
It seems like you guys are very aware of user behavior, not only with the platform, but how they interact as a team with each other. Can you maybe, and I know this might not be as relevant for auto transport, but who can't live without your product currently for the workflows that exist?
Sure, I'd say expedited freight brokerage. It seems to suit them pretty well. Because our first product is about this sort of covering loads quickly, so you can imagine why they'd be pretty motivated about this. And you can imagine a small squad. As one manager, I can see there's 15 quote requests that are outstanding. Bob's doing 5 of them, Alice is doing 7 of them, and Steve is doing the other 5 or however many there are. And being able to observe, here's my little squad, and here's how many loads are sort of active and how they're coming along in terms of getting covered. Just a little visibility. So for the manager, they're motivated by the quality of data, deepening relationship with vendors. For the line employee, it needs to be easy as pie to use, which is why it's the Chrome extension. that we went with. So you got to make two people happy for fairly different reasons, in my experience, that we're sensitive to.
And the manager, what data makes them happy in the current use case with like an expedited freight forwarder?
Yeah, I mean, they're really interested in which carriers are most engaged with different lanes. So they can look at reports about how fast, who's my guy for this lane, basically, who's going to respond most quickly and who's offering the best rates. So they're kind of threading the needle on those different variables to, again, say, hey, I actually am a little light on this lane. I got 3 carriers, but sometimes it's a miss. Sometimes none of them are available. I need to beef this lane up a bit because the response time is a little slow. Meanwhile, this other lane I got is actually doing great. We're covering them quick and we're getting good rates. So no need to search for carriers against that lane.
And typically, what ends up happening with an expedited, you said specifically expedited freight, it seems like it's a very time sensitive thing. And if they're sending out emails to multiple companies, then you're having just a completely disorganized inbox with replies to a particular employee, as opposed to like one uniform way of looking at the requests. So, okay, I see where that would be very effective. Where does the what pieces of technology are they currently using? Are a lot of the companies that you're working with right now using one similar TMS that they're using this as a workaround for, or do most TMSs in the general freight space not have this function? Because from a communication standpoint, this seems like a very, very important thing to cover, especially if you're servicing expedited freight brokers.
Yeah. And to be fair, so in our research, there's something like 350 TMSs just in the sort of broader freight market, plus or more. Certainly there are a handful. Some are quite good at it with email in particular. There's another class of them where maybe it can push a really basic email, but there's no real interaction. It's just kind of like, here's some news. So it's more of a notification than an interaction opportunity. The SMS and robocall is pretty rare in the broader market that we're observing. So that's kind of what we've been leaning into, as you can tell. We've been excited about. But no, we're pretty proud to say it would be inappropriate to name names. But there's some software providers that are really proud of their ostensible sort of way of collaborating with carriers and stuff. But we have sort of like one of each of their customers who are saying nope, that they're just not filling that gap. Because here's the thing, like, I mean, look, a TMS has to concern themselves with a lot of surface area as a software empire, right? You got to manage like shipment management and billing and your list of carriers and all these things that prevents them from diving deep from like a core competency perspective in communications, in this sort of interaction layer. So that's again, sort of the opportunity we see, and that's where we're coming in. Yeah, so we haven't seen too much that's quite like what we're approaching. We do see others that are doing more of a managed private load board type of thing, which is totally fair and legitimate for its own needs. But we've been more focused on the communication stuff.
I love the aspect of the updated information. For example, if I was to get a text from a company and I replied, I don't dispatch anymore.
Yep.
And that was the last time I heard from them because of the retention of the information, I would think that's pretty cool. And maybe even a reply. Oh, okay. We took you off the list. Have a great day. Right? That stuff would be pretty cool. I think the opportunity for back and forth communication and updates without the need. I like human beings, absolutely. But I don't like having to manage that many phone calls as a dispatcher. Again, because I can't make phone calls as fast as I can search loads and book them with buttons. That's why even someone put in the live chat, the ability to search for loads and book them without phone calls, I'm paraphrasing, you know, that's a dying art, and I think we actually see that. I think that even some of the older technology load boards are realizing that there has to be a way to book loads without just the phone call. There has to be, and other industries already know this. There's if someone from another industry stumbled into this show, they'd be like, "Yeah, what are y'all, dinosaurs? I do half my business via text."
Also, if you look at it, I mean, the way we're contacting customers is phone, email, and text. Yet we're not contacting the carriers that same way, which is a huge part of the industry to obviously get it to the customer. So, you know, adding those three on is only going to increase the business. But I had a question for you. If the carrier does write back saying he's no longer in business or doesn't do this area, does it automatically opt him out of sending those emails to him again, or do you have to go in there and manually do it?
Fair question. That's a level of nuance that we're still learning, to be honest. I mean, yeah, we're going to have to learn about how firm or hard we want to be about various things. I mean, if the carrier declares that they don't want something, we're going to honor that. But if the broker is declaring it on their behalf, well, I mean, it's less firm as coming from the horse's mouth, you know. So there's some nuance we got to learn. Not to dodge your question, we just don't know yet exactly how we want to approach that.
Well,
I was also going to say, yeah, go ahead, Mark, please.
My carrier network, the one thing I like about how we try to, we don't necessarily know if somebody's in business or not, but on every carrier profile that's in front of somebody, we display whether their authority is currently active right now. And if you want to do a select all email to carriers or select all text to carriers, you can unclick the ones that the authority is not active. And you have a pretty good idea that if it's not active, there is a good chance that they are out of business. And you should have that due diligence if you are sending to carriers, either via email or text, that you see that their authority is inactive, just unclick it and don't send it to them.
I agree. There's a lot of really good inputs. I mean, there's also technology about checking if the email is likely to bounce before sending the email, because you want to be sensitive about not being a spam machine. So that's another aspect. Checking, you know, before you fire the robocall or the text message. Well, I guess robocall works no matter what, but a text message, well, it can check it. Well, this is a landline actually. If it's a landline, then, well, maybe not. So there's a lot of wonderful technology opportunities to tap into to just tighten this process. So, yeah, well said.
We also have an API with Bright Verify that if somebody wants to do that email credentialing, they can run it through the process, Bright Verify, and we would know the next time if it indicated that it was not a valid email, we would opt out and not send to that recipient again. But it also gives the broker maybe an opportunity to correct something if somebody misspelled .com and put C-O-N instead of C-O-M, and it's now in front of them and they can see there was a misspelling, the dot was not there, something like that. They can maybe correct some of the mistakes themselves. But that's something that is available. Not a lot of people using that. It's kind of expensive, actually. It's expensive. A penny a check, and you think a penny, just a penny an email. What could that cost at the end of the month? But it can be. So some guys use it. Most do not, but it's available.
Yeah, no, that is important, though. I can appreciate why that would be. And I have another question for the panel, if it's all right, which is mobile apps and carriers in automotive hauling. How common is this? You know, how common are carriers using the app when they are requested to use the app? Their compliance with it. I'd love to just get a sense for how prevalent that is.
Shaun, Eric.
Are you talking about the carrier?
Yeah, we're text messaging mostly, not really going through apps with them. I mean, When we do our load requests, it's going through our system.
Yeah.
They have to be part of that, but typically we're not really interfacing much through apps with them. At least I'm not.
Yeah, and just to be very clear, when I talk about mobile apps, I mean, as a carrier, I installed the app that is maybe analogous to a TMS or a marketplace or something like this. And it's like, okay, the load's been tendered to me. I'm gonna like start the load. I'm gonna do the track and trace via this app. I'm gonna submit the proof of delivery or documentation by way of the app. That's what I'm getting at. Like the carrier's experience there in freight, certainly, they are frequently expected to use a mobile app that sort of feeds data back to the broker or back to the shipper.
There's quite a few big brokers that require their own app, definitely.
Is there any messaging function through those apps?
On those, if there is, using them is a goddamn disaster. And all the apps are slow as heck. Taking pictures with them, it could take a pickup that used to take 20, 30 minutes, turned into an hour and a half with a couple of these companies. We stopped even just dealing with them because of it. Thankfully, quite a few moved over to Super Dispatch, and we could kind of integrate with that. So that was great because they're a way faster app, better for pictures and the BOL and all that. But yeah, there's just way too many apps. Way too many. I mean, it'll clog up your phone. You need a new phone every 6 months because of it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you mentioning that, Constantine, because we are substantially responding to the fact that there are way too many mobile apps out there for carriers. Because yeah, if you're a carrier and you work with 10, 15, 20 different customers over time, is that 10, 20 different apps you're supposed to have on your phone potentially just to do a load? We think it's way too much friction to expect of them, and that they got to get trained on it, and it's got to be the latest version, and it's just too much. Which is why we're keeping this at sort of the place at which everyone can meet at text, phone, and email, and web, just links. That's a huge reason why. I don't know if we'll be making a mobile app for carriers. If it is, it won't be like that. It'll be a pretty profoundly different orientation, but that's probably well in the future, really.
Sure. I mean, text works way better too, even if you're in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, just from a personal example, where you're not getting 4G and you can't take pictures to send them and upload them. A text eventually will go through. And in an hour or two, when you actually reach Omaha, everything will flood through the system versus phone calls, emails. None of that works, and they won't work until you reach that 4G spot.
Yeah, interesting.
The difficult space to implement technology. Because there's so many nuances. Well, sure. and not only geographically, but just in freight, there's just so many nuances because the workflows that we use within Pro ABD for our team are going to create different nuances or friction than, for example, if Shaun's team was using it. We could have the same exact setup, but two different workflows, which are going to cause friction. So for example, like with Pro ABD, let's say a carrier responds with they're not running that lane anymore. We don't have access to edit that in the My Carrier network in Pro ABD. I already see that as being a potential issue. So there's just so many nuances to deal with that it's really tough you sort of have to kind of just go, I guess where the sticks fall is where they fall, and then you just teach people to work around that. And then every once in a while you're able to upgrade it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fractured industry and a lot of moving parts. Yeah, you're right, Eric, about that.
Yeah, no, it's true. There is a lot of nuance, and yes, there's a lot of ways to do these things, which is why we're not trying to foist a super strong opinion on exactly how to do this, which is why, for example, you target rate, there's a field there. You could use it if that's your style. You don't have to. And the vast majority of these fields, you could use it, you don't have to. We're trying not to go so deep in any of these workflows that we're precluding other folks who might be doing this. We're trying to keep the broad themes, appointments, getting rates, getting capacity, getting scheduling. So no, that's well appreciated, and it is difficult to get folks to adopt these things. And this is also why we're doing this in a very modular way, where we can say, okay, broker, I'm sure you got a dozen plus workflows, but rather than trying to say, hey, you need to adopt this big piece of software that's going to take 6 to 9 months to just implement, let's just start with this little team that does this little workflow, whatever's hurting the most. Start there. And that is something that can be implemented in a couple of days as opposed to months with all this training, all this other sales cycle, which is more from my perspective. But right, we're trying to keep it nice and easy. And hell, it's also easy to experiment. Try it out. Okay, you didn't like it? All right, well, it took a couple of days to try out. It didn't hurt nobody. As opposed to, I've seen very long and painful software implementation cycles. And it gets implemented, 9 months later, congratulations, and the team refuses to use it. I've seen that. So this is why we're trying to keep it light in the way that we're approaching this.
So, Eric, one thing that in the text template that you're able to modify for the My Carrier network, I've seen brokers where they put in if you're no longer a car hauler, type stop, and you won't receive, the system won't send messages to them anymore. And I think that in our consideration and our IT development, there is some other functions that we can give people to opt out of this route. So this route that we'd have to try to condense that for a text message and give them an option to, if you no longer run this route, then click either or type a number or just type no, for instance, and then that could take a function that would take it out of that route for that carrier. And we have some. The one thing that I'll say about that, Eric, on ours, our ass is not big, and we do not take 9 months to implement small things like that, and we can move fast and make those changes. So we do have that capability. So that is something that we're actually talking about, Eric, at Guardian.
And I just wanted to point out, when you go to if you're using another extension and the feedback is going back to the extension, then you might get that feedback to the extension, but you're not getting it to Pro ABD. So I'm not saying one functions and one doesn't. I'm simply saying that even if you do have that additional functionality, there's still nuances created that create a disconnect between the data that you're working with or that you're inputting from one system to another.
What I'm talking about is the actual from My Carrier network. If you select, I want to text the carrier, My Carrier network on a carrier that we've identified to you with some relevance, whether they have run that route before or not. And if they do not want to continue to receive because they do not run that route anymore, that we can give another option for them in addition to stop, because I don't haul cars anymore, stop, or no, I don't run that route anymore, and then it would remove it from that list that particular load is on. It's because somebody has dispatched that carrier to a load previously. So that's what we're looking for, and trying to bring that relevance every time you have an order that you want to dispatch to a carrier. And we have a pretty good percentage of dispatches being made every day from My Carrier network, either through the text or the email, and brokers have been very successful with that.
It's been very useful. It is one of the most useful tools in our arsenal when it comes to dispatching. I was just referencing, if we were to add the extension that was separate from Pro ABD, then in Pro ABD you can account for that, but with the specific use case that Eric is bringing up, just no changes, no additional workflows, that they wouldn't. That there was just a nuance where they wouldn't speak to each other in that way.
Yeah, fair point on both counts. Yes, we need to consider opt-out workflows in SMS, absolutely, and also the integration aspect. I mean, we started out with fairly sort of simple brokers who are not terribly concerned with, does it integrate with my TMS? But of course, we acknowledge that the more sophisticated folks we work with are of course going to expect that standard of integration. So that's something we'll be working on, and we'll be talking more, I suspect, about this, Mark. Yeah.
I know that as a manager with dispatchers trying to unpack what happened and nothing's written down, it is really hard. I actually find those situations really frustrating and just want to get to a resolution. So, right, having more documentation, and I know like Fast Eddie is not alone. We see it on Thursdays on Dispatching Live too often, where a carrier tried the hardest they could to get the load, pick it up, deliver it, and get paid, and something didn't work. And I'm sure on the broker side, there's a counter situation where the broker tried so hard to get the shipper's load moved, it didn't move on time, it wasn't at the rate discussed, etc. Or the carrier had no insurance, drove off a cliff, doesn't know, There are so many situations where better information in a more timely fashion may have had a better probability of the load getting moved, and so you could go on to the next load. So I really like, in the demo that you gave, Eric, I really like what I saw, how fast it was, how many people could be reached, and how they can reply. It's in the live chat. What about a carrier wanting to use the app that they want? This is communication the way you want it. I like that too. Because I don't always want to answer the phone.
The one thing too that just to be clear, that in Pro ABD on every order, when you have started a text chain with a customer or a carrier, every message that you have sent that customer or carrier related to that order is available to the broker, and they can see the full conversation. So we do document very well in our system. So just if somebody thought that we were missing that, or that wasn't available, that is absolutely available in our system.
And that's where another reason why it's because of the way you think, and you've already created the way you've already done your software, is that this can help fill in some other opportunities. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And I mean, Mark, this is, like I said, you're the first person I thought of.
Yeah, no, I can tell, Mark, that you thought through a lot of this for Pro ABD and so on, and we totally acknowledge that there's a number of TMSs who have done a solid job at this. Don't get me wrong. But we can come in for folks who are still in spreadsheet mode. Here's a quick, easy way to have a little something. They can use it in vanilla mode, right? And there's some TMSs who don't support this stuff at all. Well, we can fill that hole too. So we're kind of filling gaps and augmenting and so on is kind of how we see this.
There's definitely synergies. I think that we should communicate a little bit more and see how we can help tie your system to help our brokers and shippers do a better job of communicating with the carriers. Because for us, and I don't know, Jay, and just in this conversation, Eric at Guardian Auto Transport and Shaun at Travelers Auto Transport, I suggested both of these guys because they both are taking care of their business. You can hear that they both want to take care of their customers. They both want to take care of their carriers. Their business is growing actually at a pretty nice pace, and perfect brokers for this segment. So they're perfect companies for this venue tonight.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And then I thought of Constantine, because Constantine, I really like what you're working on with all car haulers. Do me a favor, in case anybody doesn't know, what is all car haulers?
So it's a director of almost every car hauler out there currently. I have about 18,000 carriers listed on our site. You can search them by state and city, even phone number now. So I've made a few updates to that. And it's a constant struggle to keep that list up, especially this past year. And with COVID, the initial COVID hit took a lot of smaller guys out of business. I've managed to separate who's not anymore, but I constantly get contacted by carriers, even currently, or former carriers telling me, hey, can you take me off the list?
Yep.
And you guys now coming on. On a side note, thankfully, business picked up quite a bit with used car prices raising. So a lot of the smaller guys that were struggling, that managed to stay on, they're still around. So I'm glad to be able to help them out as much as possible, drive some business to them.
Yeah, no,
I'd like to actually connect with him as well, and Constantine. I think that we could do some things and have some synergy as well.
Sure thing, Mark.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No, I see the value in all car haulers, of course. That's a great list. I'm sure you keep updated. I mean, there's a couple ways that this can integrate with Vendorflow. One, in the sense that as a user of Vendorflow, I can tap into all call haulers list to determine who I want to solicit, but also to give automatic system-driven feedback back to your list to say, hey, this email bounced, or hey, because people, I'm not saying that the data was not good, but sometimes people quit and their email gets shut down. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
So we can give you that bounce and say, hey, this bounced. So I don't know what the correct email is, but I do know that one's not working. And give other feedback to you. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to ask the engineers, but things like, oh, this is actually a mobile number versus a landline, and whatever the ways we can kind of enrich this. And who knows? I mean, maybe there are ways to enrich that list further with in terms of not just where their home base is or whatever the metadata you're capturing, but what level of interest these carriers have, and start to say of this list, who's the most responsive or who's the most this and that. So yeah, we see a lot of opportunity to capture this type of data, enrich this data for the benefit of the industry.
Eric, will you show that crazy map you showed me? First show, can you show Eric Rodriguez? Can you show, remember the map of the U.S. and the routes?
Yeah.
Can you share that?
Are you talking about to the right, Eric Rodriguez? You got to jog my memory on this.
Eric Rodriguez.
Yeah.
U.S. map, lines showing common routes. Then, or map, that crazy computer machine learning map which humans can't even read.
Of course. So I mean, in concept, yes. I mean, this we'll be capturing. I mean, the sort of supply and demand in terms of which carriers are expressing interest in different things, and I suppose it implies where they're located. We're not capturing the GPS now, but that might make sense in the future. Is that sort of what you're getting at? I mean, we're certainly capturing this data.
Well, and so, because for example, I had a guy on the show, Anthony Montero, and he is an executive with Draver, which is a drive-away Uber meets auto transport kind of deal for dealers and home delivery. And he's got a map that every time a car moved, a line is between the two cities. And then the most common routes have really dark lines.
Yep.
And that's where a human being can look at this map and go, oh, okay, there's a lot of traffic from LA to Chicago and not as much from Tampa to Chillicothe.
Got it. Yeah.
That one's for Mark.
Yeah,
but
thank you. I appreciate that.
But then you showed this map, which I can't even read. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Clusters of dots around loads. Oh, you know what? I am mixing meetings. That wasn't you, Eric.
Different Eric Rodriguez.
Whoa.
Gents, I really appreciate you guys taking the time and having me on the panel. I do have a bit of a hard stop. I'm up before 5 a.m.
Wow.
Constantine, Shaun, it was a pleasure meeting you. Mark, always a pleasure seeing you. Eric, I appreciate you sharing the platform. And Jay, I thought you were talking to me about the map of all the bars we're going to hit when you visit Chicago. So.
We just had a crazy, that's right. We got two Erics here, and neither of them are the Eric that I spoke to about these crazy maps. This guy showed me a map today which only machines could understand. And what I'm getting at is we're getting to the point where data you mentioned it with the email thread. I'm going to let you go in a second, Eric. You mentioned it with the email thread. Data is getting a little out of control, and we need better systems to manage it on our behalf.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And thank you for taking the time to join us tonight.
Yeah, thank you, gents. Take care.
Okay, take care.
Yes.
Great meeting you, Eric.
Hey, Jay, I don't know if Shaun actually, he had the initial thing at the beginning. If he could, if you want to let him introduce his business, who his business is and what his specialty is. And I mentioned that he takes care of customers and carriers, and I think people could hear that from his comments, but maybe hear it from him and see what he's got going on. He has a nice growing business.
Sure. So based out of Long Island, New York, our whole motto is to try to hold the customer's hand, whether they ship cars every day, every week, or it's their first time shipping. Try to teach them the process and hold their hand the entire way. Try to do the same thing with the carriers. We're not holding the carriers' hands, but we want to be talking with them and be in communication nonstop. So where we're talking with them, speaking back to the customer, and trying to to stop anything that might happen, like they said, dry runs, getting their cars not there, because we constantly are communicating with them. I mean, we use the text message all the time on Pro ABD, whether it's to the customer and or the shipper. The carrier. Hence why I'm buying tokens every 2 days in Pro ABD.
We appreciate that.
But yeah, we deal with all clients, dealerships, used new cars, your clients who are buying cars out of state, who are moving, and we try to treat everybody, whether, like I said, you're moving 50 cars a month with me or it's your first time. We're treating everyone the same, just trying to grow the business. Like Mark said, we are growing pretty rapidly, and the more technology, someone said communication's key. So the more technology we have to communicate, whether it's with customers and or carriers, the better off you are. So I'm into technology and I'm into growing the business, so I appreciate the time.
That is company name again, Shaun, is
Travelers Auto Transport.
Okay, travelersautotransport.com, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just found the website to it. So do you do a lot of communication through text and other ways?
Yeah. So even for the customer per se, they're receiving emails and they're receiving text right away, obviously phone calls. With the carriers, we're using the load requests a lot through ProABD, so we're emailing carriers all the time. A lot of times, but it's a soft email. We've seen you done this route before. Would you be interested in taking this again? Yes or no? Well, they're sending back a request to us, and then we're doing text message a lot, whether it's through the system with the driver themselves, or even with a few of my dispatchers have cell phones as well that they're texting nonstop. A lot of the drivers rather receive text messages than phone calls, so we kind of let them dictate which one they want to do, whether it's emails, text message, or phone calls. Gate passes, we're always texting as well as emailing, so there's both the dispatch and the driver have it. I'm just trying to put as much stuff on paper per se, so there is no issues, or if there is an issue, we know whose fault it was, and it's easier to negotiate then when the fault's on the other foot.
Yeah. No, I love it, Shaun. And Shaun, I got a question for you. I mean, are you mostly serving more sort of individual consumers who just want a one-off car moved, or also dealerships and manufacturers, things like this too?
Yeah, both. We're doing dealerships, we're doing one-offs. So yeah, we're doing everything.
Now, for your more enterprise customers, dealerships and so on, do you find yourself disputing or having sort of invoice reconciliation and charge reconciliation? Is that a big time suck, or is it usually kind of sails through? It's like not a big issue when you're billing back to your customer?
It's really not a big issue. The way we do it, after obviously their vehicles are picked up, they're notified, everything's tracked, and once delivered, they're sent over an invoice that is delivered, paid, and then so getting payments not really an issue with us, with the dealerships.
Sounds nice. Dre is a little different. I'll just put it that way. Dre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so on the broker side, Pro ABD, and on the carrier side, it's Dispatch Center, and the two are connecting, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And what about when the carrier? I'm sorry, your customer, shipper. What's the technology there?
So through ProABD, you can still text the customer as well. So they're receiving an email right away with the quote. They're receiving text message with the quote phone calls, then we're going back and forth whichever way. You know, some customers say, you know what, I don't want to do email, text me, or I'm at work, I can't talk, text me or email me. And whichever way they dictate they want us to go is the way that we go.
That's what makes it true end-to-end, Mark, right?
It is true end-to-end, actually. The one thing that I think makes us unique in our text message and what we offer the brokers that they can send out, in the text message, we actually have a booking link. And I don't think that there's any other CRM that allows the broker to send the message to the carrier with the book, or to the customer with a booking link that they can click it and then place the order from the text message. They can also do that from the email, but also we can text message the customer or carrier to have the terms or the contract with the carrier click, and then the carrier or customer can electronically sign, and that from the text message, and that comes back into the system and locks in with the signature. So we have that going on as well. That is, I think, unique for our system, being able to send that booking link. And I think that's an advantage for all the brokers, having the customer in today's world be able to click the button and place the order.
Yeah. No, I love that. That sounds definitely on the vanguard or market leading. That's a wonderful thing. And spiritually, yeah, we're aligned. We're talking about the same opportunity. So that's awesome.
Good. End to end, full end to end. And it comes back from the lead that comes in as a lead that is given a price, has been sent to the customer. The customer converts it to an order, or the broker converts it to an order. It's posted to the load boards. Carriers, it's posted with booking links that carriers can request that load from booking links, and comes back into the request center, and the dispatch is facilitated with the broker accepting, hopefully accepting and not declining, but they can also decline somebody's offer at that point as well. And the other thing, at the beginning of your segment, Jay, you mentioned spreadsheets, and I don't even know, maybe even sometimes that our brokers sometimes don't even realize that they can send their available list to carriers with a short link and it can go in a text message with a short link that the carrier can click, and it opens up a page, or through an email or a browser that they can open up that short link, and it opens up all their available loads, and the carriers can sort. They can filter how they want to sort and see the loads being displayed in front of them, and they can just click the load number, and they can make a booking request, and that booking request comes back into our system that hopefully the broker can then say, yes, I would accept that, or if they have to decline it, they can decline it. But it's not the spreadsheet. It's not your daddy's spreadsheet. It is full of technology of what we're sending out with that short link, and giving the carriers full opportunity to look at every load that's available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And to touch on what Mark said, even if we do decline it, there's an area where they ask you why, so you can put your notes in, and they can see why you declined it, whether it's, they're asking for too much, whatnot. But it starts the communication process of going back and forth. Then maybe the phone call comes in, or an email comes in. But you have a carrier that's interested, and it's time to negotiate and get it to a point where everyone's happy and get this load off. So
Good point, because you know what, as a dispatcher, when I miss a load because of $25, really?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that we're going to have, and we had it in place when we had Pro ACD, and that's been replaced by Dispatch Center. We had a counter offer. In Dispatch Center, if you have a load request, you can counter offer a carrier's request. So if they ask for 50 and you say, I'll give you 25, you can counter back to that. You're going to be able to counter back, Shaun, in Pro ABD right in the request center. Just be able to counter back, and if you want to counter back at a different price, you can do that.
Yeah.
So that, I think actually that will probably be in production this week. It's short week, being Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday, but I still think it's going to be this week that counter offer will be back in production.
No, I see the opportunity, and we're getting the same type of feedback for, call it negotiation more broadly at large. And sure, the workflow has been initiated, but now there's a way that they can have this back and forth. It might not just be about price. It might be, if you could do pickup on Tuesday, then I can knock off $100. But if it's got to be on Wednesday, okay, fine, we'll do it like this. So we want to start with that structure, but then open it up so people can communicate in these ways. And yeah, again, maybe it's happens to be by text or by email, but still it's being captured in this sort of shared thread to get that task complete. Yeah.
The one difference that I see, Eric, is that Shaun's customer does not have to have that expedited feel in most cases. I think in most cases, and I think Eric at Guardian has customers that would want that expedited. But usually he may advertise to his customer, and Shaun, you can correct me, but I think he would tell his customer, we're going to have a truck there in 1 to 3 days or 1 to 5 days, depending on what their goal is to get it picked up. So they don't have that urgency that sometimes in the expedited arena that you're in that they would need. So there is a little bit more flexibility and time to facilitate that transportation and the dispatch to the carrier.
It'd be good as an option though, because once in a while you do get those private owners that want it now or need it now because they worked with another broker that way underpriced, and then they start calling you frantically and saying, hey, I'm flying out, I got nowhere to leave the car, get me somebody ASAP. So that expedited option will be sorely needed.
That is actually, that is a good point. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. That certainly does happen, but the everyday customer that they're going to deal with doesn't need that. But
typically not, no.
Yeah, there's something for everybody in logistics. The one general thing I learned about logistics is you can't make generalizations about logistics. That's the only thing I know.
Yeah.
All fair points all around. And it's also worth acknowledging, Fast Eddie, was it? Because brokers, they say, I have loads, do you have a truck? And truckers often say, I'm ready, do you have loads for me, to their favorite brokers who they like to go to say, hey, I need a backhaul, whatever the case may be. You can imagine us kind of just flipping the script a little and giving Fast Eddie a means of pushing this to say, here's where I am, here's what I'm looking for, here's the 10 brokers I like to work with who usually supply me the best, and Fast Eddie can learn about like how quickly do my brokers react to me when I want something. So we're just kind of taking this little loop, this little machine about pushing a workflow, getting the response, and we want to sort of manifest that to a whole host of people who have these types of needs. We're just starting with what we're starting with because you got to start somewhere. Stay tuned, Fast Eddie, hang in there. Maybe sometime late this year, we'll have something for you.
Nice. Nice touch. Eric, you've done a great job of communicating and demonstrating really. It's almost 11 o'clock Central Time. This is rarely do the panels go this long. This has really been a good conversation. And I noticed when I sent out the email blast, I mentioned this to you earlier, I saw a lot more response than normal. There were many people interested. They either watched tonight and they didn't say anything, or they're going to watch later, but there is interest in this topic because this is where things are going.
Yeah, we're at a hell of an intersection where these types of technologies around SMS and robocall and a higher standard are now available to these types of industries. And it's like, hey, let's strike while that iron's hot. That's kind of why we're here. And we want to partner with folks like all you on the panel, Constantine, Mark, and so on, to put this stuff in play and get people using it. That's what we're here for. So, we're hoping to talk to brokers, shippers, primarily for now, although we're also curious to talk to carriers to learn about their needs. We can build out workflows for you. Let's talk. So that's what we're after. And really appreciate you having me on for this.
And it reinforces and showcases the work Mark has done
Sure.
with end-to-end software. And it's neat. You guys have not met before tonight, right? Eric and Mark?
That's right.
True.
That is so cool. And then to bring in Constantine with the all car haulers list. Constantine, I don't think you and I have talked in, gosh, could be a year.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Almost.
So good job on really growing that list. It's a lot to manage, but
It is.
a great idea. And yeah, it's a big undertaking. So kudos to you for doing that. And Shaun, it was nice to meet you and learn more about your business.
You too.
Look forward to having you on a future panel.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Pleasure meeting you guys.
I just like to say
Likewise.
this. Final thoughts? Anybody have a final thought and anything they wanted to add?
Let's see. I'm tapped out.
I checked off everything. I make a lot of notes. I really like the robocall. I like in the live chat somebody said exception management.
Ooh.
Isn't that good?
yeah.
Exception management. That's very good. And Ron is giving props. Ron says, Eric is the man of the hour. Great stuff from this table. Great job, ATI. Mark is a legend. Ron, thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate that. So,
Ron had a nice super chat as well.
boy, he did, didn't he?
He did. Came through again.
I know. I really appreciate that. That's super nice. Yeah. Well, hey, Mark, buddy, you just keep on giving. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. It means a lot.
We appreciate the channel and the work you do. I know every Tuesday, the amount of work that goes into what you do is, I know.
Yeah.
A lot.
I got up early this morning. I was working like crazy. Yeah, I was working like crazy. So, thank you for that.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, on the short week too, because today's really Monday.
It is.
And
Those
the other
holidays.
week, and
holidays
you
are
had to
killers.
push that in.
Actually.
So,
Everybody else is like,
Yeah.
party! I'm like, here comes the cliff!
That was a good job. It was a good show. I
thank you very
appreciated it. Shaun, thanks for jumping on. Constantine, I'd like to talk to you. Eric, I'd like to talk to you. Jay, connect us up, and we'll see
Right
what we
on.
can do. We
Yeah.
like technology. We like helping our carriers. We like helping our brokers and shippers. And the thing on the, I do want to say, just as Constantine said, on the shipping and not so much expedited, that kind of that's not always the case. The typical mom and dad are going to move down to Florida for the winter. They're going to ship their car. That's a 1 to 5 day. Son or daughter going to UCLA. That's a 1 to 5 day. That one's okay. But Shaun is dealing with dealerships and the melting block of ice, and I know he wants to get that 1 to 4 hours, 1 to 8 hours on a dispatch. So I don't want to totally exclude and kind of assume or insinuate that the time is not important for his customers, because there is a segment that it is very important, and there's a segment that you could do the status quo. So we help build technology to help Shaun take care of all his customers.
Yep. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Right on.
And that I think that needs to be a wrap.
That's a
Think,
wrap.
Jay?
Well, what they do is...
Yeah, what time is it?
So
Holy
when
smokes,
it's
we're
the-
almost midnight here.
When you're finishing up, they actually will hold the slate upside down and do tails out. So this is a tails out situation. I know,
That's
right?
a
You don't
that's
see
a
a lot of
director and
tails
a
out.
producer and somebody who's been in the movie industry who knows that terminology. We
Secret?
don't know that
It just
so
so
much.
happens today, I dug up an old call sheet. I never looked at this. Is from 1997, an actual call sheet. I'm on here.
It's still relevant, still
I'm
being
on
used
here.
today by many
1997.
brokers.
Exactly. This is a dispatch sheet. Exactly.
Still being used today.
Right? Exactly. Today, yeah, paper dispatch or paper call sheet, right? It's all on the app. I don't even know. I don't know. I haven't been in Hollywood in a while, but that is a wrap, everybody. So that's a wrap on episode 197.
Thank you so much, Jay. Really appreciate having me on. This is super fun. Appreciate all the preparation. Mark, Shaun, Constantine, and the folks who had to drop off, Eric as well. Great meeting you all. Looking forward to talking more. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Very
you.
Good.
Thanks.
Thanks very much,
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay, Eric.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. This was a long one. This was a good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon, guys.
Have a good night.
All right.
Keep
Good
in
night.
touch.
Good night, Jay. Thanks.
All right. Good night. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
And cut. Okay, that's a cut. That's a wrap. That's a wrap on the technology panel. I want to start by thanking, first I want to thank Murphy Auto Transport. Sue was going to try and join us tonight, wasn't able to make it. You're going to see her Thursday on Dispatching Live. Please be sure to join us on Thursday for Dispatching Live. I also want to thank NVTA, National Vehicle Transporters Alliance. Thank you so much for your participation. That was a great panel a week and a half ago on NVTA Talks Business Insurance. Check that out. Visit gonvta.org. Thank you, Black Widow Imaging. Thank you very much. We were at Car Conference. That was in June. That was a few weeks ago. Already seems like a while ago. Have you scheduled a demo? Do it. Go to blackwidowimaging.com, schedule a demo, find out what this thing is, why it is, what it's doing. Dealers, auctions, carriers, port, row. Right? You're at the port, you're at the rail, you need good pictures. John Larrick, you should get a demo. Go to blackwidowimaging.com. And thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I want to also thank Mark Brodicki at SuperFlo Systems. Thanks for your participation tonight and the technology advancements you've made. It's interesting how a show like this shows how far ahead Mark is on some of the auto transport software solutions that he's got. It's great. And thank you for your participation and for ringing the cowbell. I do appreciate it. I really do. In fact, speaking of cowbell, thank you, Super Dispatch, for ringing the cowbell. Thank you very much. Also, thank you, Ron, NYC Traffic, Inc. Thank you for ringing the cowbell tonight. It sure does mean a lot. And there's Ron all the way to the end. Love ATI. You don't disappoint. Always learn something from the eco. Thank you so much. Carlos Braxton, we hope you're up and running again soon. Candy, Jack Sport, thank you so much for tuning in and saying hello. Yeah. There's always so much to talk about with technology. It's one of my favorite topics. That's how we made it to 11 o'clock Central. But I couldn't have done it without you. And I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time on a Tuesday night and helping the conversation flow. If you've got a show in mind, you know somebody we should talk to. Maybe they want to get on a Cars on the Move or a DOT compliance, talk safety, talk equipment, or just talk. Doesn't even have to be a show. Send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. I set meetings all the time, but I do set meetings. We set meetings so I can keep it organized. This channel is, is one wild ride. So thank you for joining me on it. I sure do appreciate it. All right, that's it. I'm going to run the car hauler. Please do join us tomorrow at noon on DOT Compliance with Brian Riker. There's always a lot of, whether it's specific DOT FMCSA questions or general, you want to talk about the law or safety. It seems like there's always something to talk about. Maybe too much. Join us tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Peace out, everybody.